He's got to keep his composure now, Wardley.
Oh! They call this round 13. They're taking it from the left off, and down goes Clark. Shoot, Rams. He does it good. He does it good. It's over. Round 1 KO.
1, 2, 3.
As-tu déjà eu mal quand tu as donné un coup de tête au ballon?
Oui, parce que ça dépend comment des fois on prend le ballon. On peut le prendre un peu trop haut et bah, ça fait mal un peu à la tête. Mais généralement quand je le frappe avec le front, non, il fait pas mal. C'est plutôt moi, je frappe le ballon, mais ça dépend comment on prend, où on prend, dans quelle zone on tape le ballon.
Ok. Est-ce que cela t'arrive de te lasser de gagner des trophées?
Alors là, pas du tout. Pas du tout. Et toi, est-ce que ça te lasse de manger du Nutella tous les matins?
Non.
Eh ben voilà. Eh ben c'est la même chose. Non, on est là, on travaille tous les jours pour ça. Donc non.
Leon, Arsenal, Barcelona, oh, very clever. Wolfsburg, Frankfurt. Bayern Munich.
No.
Do you know another one?
Yumea.
Yeah, that's actually true.
Wendy.
Ada.
Eugenie.
Bob.
Marta.
Oh,
Going way back.
that were my
That's like
two chances.
4 chances.
No, 2. Ah.
Overall, this is going to be a great learning experience for Emma. Right down the middle!
Beautiful shot from Austin Emma Williams. And that is enough. This is a big attack from Fisher. It's accurate and it's powerful, and the referee steps in with just a few seconds to go in the opening round, and that's what it means to Johnny Fisher.
say too, is looking like a bit more fatigue on the face of AJ Bunker, whereas Elbrook's looking in shape.
That right hand scored for Elle. This is a good round for her.
Oh! Big right hand, and I don't think AJ's gonna get out.
And I think if there was a bit more.
Took again. Primus goes face down. Rabobnov with the knockout victory for $1 million.
Wow.
Oh, look at that body shot. Just crumpling Lucas. And it is a 4th round knockout.
So much time to work with. We're only in round 3. Guevara trying to fight his way out of this trouble. But he got clipped with a beautiful right uppercut.
That's a dangerous, beautiful shot by.
And they've stopped it.
They'll stop it, and we've got a new undisputed flyweight champion of the world.
As he's loaded and goes down. Palomares got clubbed by Tito Sanchez, and I don't know if Palomares getting up.
Knees on the outside, feet on the inside, and he is unleashing thunder from. Oh, he's out! He's out!
He's in big trouble, and he's down, and he is done. The king has returned.
He's got to keep his composure now, Wardley. Oh! They call this round 13. They're taking it from the left off, and down goes Clark. Shoot, Raz! He does it good! He does it good! It's over! Round 1 KO!
1, 2, 3.
As-tu déjà eu mal quand tu as donné un coup de tête au ballon?
Oui, parce que ça dépend comment des fois on prend le ballon. On peut le prendre un peu trop haut et bah, ça fait mal un peu à la tête. Mais généralement quand je le frappe avec le front, non, il fait pas mal. C'est plutôt moi, je frappe le ballon, mais ça dépend comment on prend, où on prend, dans quelle zone on tape le ballon.
Ok. Est-ce que cela t'arrive de te lasser de gagner des trophées?
Alors là, pas du tout. Pas du tout. Et toi, est-ce que ça te lasse de manger du Nutella tous les matins?
Non.
Eh ben voilà. Eh ben c'est la même chose. Non, on est là, on travaille tous les jours pour ça. Donc non.
Leon, Arsenal, Barcelona, oh, very clever, Wolfsburg, Frankfurt,
Bayern Munich.
No.
Do you know another one?
Yemenia.
Yeah, that's actually true.
Wendy,
Ada,
Eugenie,
Pop,
Mata?
Oh.
I'm going way back.
That were my
That's
two
like
chances.
4 chances.
No. 2. Ah.
The following program is recommended for those 16 and over, as it contains sporting violence, possible bad language, and flashing imagery.
This is the moment the world has been waiting for. The judges are ready, the fighters are ready, the boxing world is ready. The fight starts now! Let's go.
How do you like it? Close the show. So aggressive, so focused. It all comes down to this.
Fight night, only on DAZN.
Well, the beaches are busy in Puerto Rico. Fight week has been a dream here in San Juan, but now it is down to business as we get set for a big night of fights here at the Roberto Clemente Coliseum. And we welcome you to our Paro Hitchins coverage on Before the Bell here in beautiful Puerto Rico to close out the North American circuit in 2024 for Matchroom Boxing. You're getting a live look at Roberto Clemente Coliseum inside. It's where it'll all go down later tonight on DAZN, where the main card begins at 8 p.m. local time, 7 Eastern, and it all leads into the main event between the IBF super lightweight champ Liam Paro back in Puerto Rico, taking on the undefeated mandatory challenger in Richardson Hitchins. As you see our total fight card there, along with Sergio Mora. I'm Justin Shackle, and we have those 4 fights for you. There's a lot of intriguing storylines littered throughout this main card, but when we take a look at the main event, Sergio, IBF title fight on the line, what do you feel Paro has to prove after upsetting the Boogeyman here back in June? He comes back to make his first title defense.
That's what I nicknamed Subriel Matias, the Boogeyman, but clearly he was not the Boogeyman. That night, it was Liam Paro who was the bully killer, and he did it here in Puerto Rico, coming right back to the Lion's Den and against another tough opponent, unbeaten opponent in Hitchins. You know, the thing I like about Liam Paro is he's a road warrior, Justin. He goes anywhere for the smoke, and as a newly minted world champion, he's not going to want to give that up, man. He's staying active. He has the talent. He's a slick southpaw with power. Liam Paro's the goods, but
Hitchins is also. This is a great 50-50 style matchup between two completely different styles.
And it's taking place in one of the divisions that's becoming a glamour weight class in the sport. Where do these two stack up in your eyes at 140 pounds?
That's a great question, because at the top of the list has to be Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez is a beast. He's been a beast at 135 and 140. We still have George Kambosos. That'll be a hell of a matchup between two Aussies if Paro can pull this up, and if they do fight. Of course, you have plenty other names. Jack Catterall is another name that gets thrown in the mix. Ryan Garcia, who knows? Is he 140, 147? Is he going to come back to boxing? But Ryan Garcia can still be a player at 140. But it's a loaded division. I'm excited for the future.
And we take a look at what's going on here for Before the Bell. As you take a look, again, at the main card, co-feature, Henry LeBron and Christopher Diaz, a true crossroads fight here for Puerto Ricans. But here on Before the Bell, a lot of action. It'll begin with Stephanie Pinheiro against a late replacement in Kalindra Faria, the former UFC fighter. Juan Zayas will go up against the Dominican and Geraldo Valdez. Jaleel Hackett, Major Hackett on Before the Bell. A lot of hidden treasure on Before the Bell, Sergio.
Yes,
you have Hackett going up against Jose Roman, and then Wilito Ortiz back in action. Second fight for Matchroom against Lionel Taz Colon. Which one of those stands out to you the most?
I'm interested in seeing how Jaleel Hackett performs, because Roman's a sturdy fighter, good, he's strong, but Hackett had some issues. I think he had some issues making the weight, but luckily he's strong, he's fit, he's ready to go. But I want to see how he's going to react if this fight goes into the second half of the fight.
And we saw William Ortiz back here on June 15th on that Matias Paro card. He opened up the main card, and everybody that you talk to here in Puerto Rico, as soon as I got off the plane, driven to the hotel, our driver's talking about Ortiz and Colon. We often don't get too much spice on these Before the Bell cards, but there's some bad blood there. There's been some trash talking. Really excited to see that main event here on Before the Bell between these two young Puerto Ricans.
Well, we're going to get spice right now. I don't know if you like spice, Justin, but I do. I'm ready for it. And you got a good-looking prospect, 6-0, William Ortiz, against another unbeaten fighter. We always like to see what prospect is willing to fight for that zero harder. So undefeated against undefeated, exactly the type of match you want to see on the way up.
Well, the crowd starting to file in just a bit here at Roberto Clemente Coliseum. We are moments away from getting our action started here on Before the Bell. But while we have a few moments and wait for David Diamante to begin these festivities here, real quick, Sergio, other than the main event tonight, when you take a look at some of the names on the main card, especially Henry LeBron making his Matchroom debut, Yankel Rivera back out for a fight here in Puerto Rico. What matchup there intrigues you the most?
LeBron versus Diaz. I think that's going to be an excellent matchup. Diaz has a new trainer in Jorge Linares. He's motivated, said he had the best camp of his life. LeBron, a hard puncher, very, very difficult southpaw to fight. Tough Puerto Rican. This is a type of fight where I love the fact it's Puerto Rican versus Puerto Rican, but a lot to lose and evenly matched. I think that's going to be a very tough fight for LeBron.
And that was a match that was supposed to take place over the summer on the Ennis Avanesian undercard in Philadelphia. LeBron is ending an 11-month layoff, had a minor injury, injured a knuckle, and that kept him out of action. Diaz did compete on that card and came away with the knockout win. So these two will finally tangle. It'll happen here in Puerto Rico, and that will be the co-feature here ahead of Paro and Hitchins for that IBF super lightweight title. Spend a couple of moments here, though, on Richardson Hitchins. Undefeated, going up against the undefeated fighter in Paro, obviously. It's been a little over 2 years since Hitchins joined the Matchroom stable, and they kind of methodically brought him along to put himself in this position to contend for a world title. No steps were skipped for Richardson Hitchins here.
No, I think they're moving him perfectly. But you know, he's a 2016 Olympian. He's one of these fighters that that's been groomed for this moment, like you're saying, you know. So he's ready for it at 18-0. This is exactly the type of moment where you want to see if he has that championship ability and is he willing to step over from prospect to a legitimate champion now. Forget the contender route. He already hit that. But now, Olympian to world champion. That's every boxer's dream, and Hitchins has the opportunity to do that tonight.
Sneak you a quick tail of the tape preview for our action in the main event coming up later tonight on DAZN again. 8 p.m. local here in San Juan, 7 p.m. Eastern, live worldwide on the global leader of boxing. That is DAZN. Paro and Hitchins, but plenty to do before then, and we are close to getting started here on Before the Bell. And we'll have 4 fights for you here on the preliminary cards, and we are about ready to go for the first fight between Pinheiro and Faria. And without further ado, well, I shouldn't say that. A couple more moments, Sergio. I'm going by the body language of David Diamante. So here we go. We're ready to roll with our first match of the night. It's Pinheiro and Faria as we get things started here in San Juan.
Damas y caballeros, buenas tardes y bienvenido a Coliseo Roberto Clemente para una noche de boxeo espectacular. El primer combate de la noche, 8 asaltos, peso welter. Now making her way to the ring, Kalindra Faria.
So right off the bat, full disclosure, this was supposed to be the ring walk for the former WBA featherweight champ, Ogolita Suarez. But Suarez dropped out of the show during the fight week, so enter the former UFC fighter out of Brazil, who you see on your screen, Kalindra Faria, the 38-year-old, a late bloomer to boxing. She's 2-2, but she is embracing the fight life. And just 10 days ago, she won a split decision up in a New England hotel ballroom for an event called the Thanksgiving Eve Boxing Spectacular. And here tonight, fast forwarding 10 days, she's in San Juan to kick off her show at the Roberto Clemente Coliseum.
Entonces, por favor, bienvenido, la medicina Stephanie Pinheiro.
34-year-old Stephanie Pinheiro making the ring walk for her second fight under the Matchroom umbrella. She's 7-0. 2 knockouts. She earned a 10-round unanimous decision win over Diana Tapia on the Matias Paro undercard back in June. And she fought well at a distance. She kept Tapia at bay with her jab. Then she started to put some punches together after she got into better positioning. And she's currently ranked as the top challenger for the WBA and the IBF welterweight title. She feels she is ready to face the champions. And despite the late opponent switch, she knows it's important to send out a strong, convincing message here tonight.
Damas y caballeros, otra vez, buenas noches y bienvenido a Roberto Clemente Coliseo aquí en San Juan, Puerto Rico, en vivo por DAZN para una noche de boxeo espectacular. Presentado por Señor Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing in association con Universal Boxing. Sancionado por the Puerto Rican Boxing Commission. Los tres jueces son Toro de Puerto Rico, Carlos Colón, Luis Ruiz y Jose Silva. And your referee at the sound of the bell, Melva Santos. And now, ladies and gentlemen, 8 rounds of boxing scheduled in the welterweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, she wears solid black trunks. She scaled 139.8 pounds. Professional record, 2 wins, 2 defeats. Fighting out of Taubaté, Sao Paulo, Brazil, Kalindra Faria. And her opponent across the ring fighting out of the blue corner. She wears orange, white, and black. This southpaw scaled already 146.4 pounds. Her professional record, perfect. 7-0, 2 knockouts. Peleando desde Bayamón, Puerto Rico. Here is the reigning and undefeated WBA Continental Americas and WBO International Welterweight Champion, La Medicina, Stephanie Pinheiro.
Okay, lady, you know the rules. Ustedes conocen las reglas. Obey my command all the time. Obedegan todos los comandos que le dé. Protect yourself all the time. Protéjanse todo el tiempo. Toquen guantes.
Melba Santos, the third individual in the ring as we get going for our opening bout on Before the Bell. 8 rounds, welterweight women's boxing, 2-minute rounds. It'll be Steph Pinheiro, who you see on the left of your screen in the orange and white fight kit, against Kalindra Faria, who had a little over a day, really, to get here on notice and fill in for the late opponent switch, as you see the size difference right away, Sergio.
Yeah, this shouldn't last too long. I mean, Faria has a MMA background, so she's going to be tough. But as far as boxing goes, I think Pinheiro, as soon as she lands a good shot, I want to see how Faria responds, because that punch resistance isn't the same from MMA to boxing.
And a quick knockdown right there. And I'll tell you what, I mean, Faria took this fight on short notice. She weighed in yesterday under the super lightweight limit, and she's still giving up 7 pounds here to Pinheiro. So for Pinheiro, it was, with Suarez bowing out so late, it was either face Faria here or have no fight tonight.
No, look, you got to credit Faria for taking this fight and saving the show. So hopefully she's well compensated, because right now she's having a hard time adjusting to the size and the southpaw angle of Pinheiro, and that reach, that distance. And Pinheiro does have pop behind that left hand, like we saw there.
Pinheiro trying to improve to 8-0.
It'll serve Faria right if she could punch with Pinheiro. You know, you got to just throw caution to the wind and punch with her, even though that's going to expose you to get hit with something big. But when you're dealing with a taller fighter that's coming at you this aggressively, you just got to punch with them. Just like that, in between the shots.
Try and do whatever you can to stave off the aggression here on the outset.
See, what you do whenever you're being out-punched like that, and you're not really a boxer, like we said, she's an MMA background. You got to punch in between the shots, and don't throw punch for punch with the better puncher in Pinheiro. You know, she's a combination. She's a volume puncher. So you're just going to try to intercept in between, and just like that, and try to get some body shots with some respect.
Faria clocked her with a left hand moments ago, and another as the knee stumble for Faria.
Yeah, big left hook right on the temple that shook her legs.
Taking a look at some of the action from the first round, and right away, Pinheiro showing how much of a disadvantage here that Faria is at against the former Puerto Rican national team member.
Yeah, Pinheiro almost landed a clean body shot right there that I'm sure Faria wouldn't have liked, but it just barely missed. But this is a game of inches, so I expect a lot more punches to land in the second round, Justin, and I don't expect Faria, if she gets hit solid, to make it through this round, personally.
Start of round 2. As Pinheiro's trying to win her second straight fight on a matchroom card. We talked about that left hand. That was on display beautifully in that fight in June.
No, it really was. I mean, she's tall, she's long, she's strong, but a good body puncher. See, I love when tall fighters, you know, go to the body, and especially early. Young fighters that are tall usually like to keep that range, fight behind that long jab, and they ignore the body. But that's what I like about Pinheiro. She bends down, bends her knees, and goes downstairs responsibly.
She's ranked as the #1 challenger for the WBA. We know Lauren Price, the current champ, ranked as the #1 challenger at the IBF as well, rated 3rd by the WBO, but she's yet to fight off Puerto Rico, off the island of Puerto Rico. So she knows that there is an emphasis here to impress despite the level of opponent that was put in front of her here so late.
No, it doesn't matter. I mean, at this point of your career, you know, you're going to be facing fighters that don't have winning records. But normally, we don't face MMA fighters, you know, from that background. Sometimes they can be difficult, Justin. I fought an MMA fight. It's one of my toughest fights because they're accustomed to fighting with small gloves, so they could take a big punch. They're not that skilled, they're not that polished, but they do bring toughness.
And Faria's trying to hang in here in the corner. Pinheiro just tagging away for the second straight round, putting her in the corner.
I like the way Faria took that punch. And you can see by the way she just moves away. She doesn't know what to do with her footwork because she squares up and she moves laterally the wrong way because she's not accustomed to being on her feet like this in a boxing ring. You know, in the MMA world, it's mostly, you know, the stand-up is very flat-footed, and then you go to the ground. In boxing, you're moving laterally, backwards, and you can't be doing that. You can't be turning your back.
Faria was in the UFC for parts of 3 years, from 2017 to 2020. So she's going to be tough to put away.
Well, she got past the second round, so I'm impressed already. You see a nice little uppercut by Faria, but a lot more punches by Pinheiro. I like the fluid combinations that she throws. I mean, she doesn't load up, Stephanie Pinheiro. She doesn't fall off balance, and she keeps her range, uses her height, and nice counter punching. See that? Look, that's what I mean by being responsible, Justin. Like, she bends her knees and doesn't stay at the same level of height to get countered by a big shot. So a responsible, tall, aggressive fighter, Stephanie Pinheiro.
Pinheiro coming in at 7-0, 2 knockouts, and she told us earlier this week that while the record doesn't suggest it, she thinks she carries a lot of good power in her hands.
Every fighter thinks and says that, Justin, but in women's boxing, it's very tough to get knockouts, one. And two, if she is going to get this knockout, I think it's going to be when she invests the body, which she's been doing. She's been doing, and I like that she's been doing that so early, but I don't like that Faria has been responding every time she does get hit downstairs.
Faria, like we mentioned, trains in MMA, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai. She said boxing's still new to her, but it's exciting.
As long as it doesn't get too painful for her. But right now, you know, she's showing her toughness, showing grit, and we have to give her credit for being the short notice opponent against a tall, strong, determined fighter in Pinheiro. So she already passed my test, I'll be honest with you, Justin, because I didn't expect this fight to last too long.
Especially after the first knockdown in the first round.
Not only that,
she wasn't long for this.
Not only that, but you know, her lack of footwork, lack of speed, the technique is off. So right now she's just relying on instinct and toughness. So you got to give credit to her.
This is her 5th pro fight as a boxer. And she's competed in 4 different weight classes in those 5 fights.
Yeah, that's just a natural fighter. You can't teach that. You know, that's just character in a fighter. The fact that you're willing to fight anyone, anytime, at any weight class. I mean, normally you're supposed to be responsible, but you know, just born fighters like that, you gotta applaud.
Her debut last summer was at super bantamweight. Then she had 2 fights at featherweight, 1 at super lightweight, and now here at 147 pounds. And she is still in there against Stephanie Pinheiro through 3.
There's Pinheiro giving up her height, you know, trying to get a little bit over aggressive, which can fall in the hands of the shorter fighter. And Faria has the right idea. She's now trying to punch in between the shots, but she just doesn't have velocity. She doesn't have explosiveness, you know, compared to Pinheiro's punches. And that's what I don't like. Whenever she does turn her back, you know, you can't do that in boxing. You can even get disqualified by turning your back, but that's a natural instinct for her. Because in the MMA world, you are allowed to turn your back and you know, be vulnerable to a chokehold, but you are able to give your back like that.
Beginning of the 4th round, this one's scheduled for 8 between Pinheiro and Faria. Steph Pinheiro in the orange and white kit, the Puerto Rican native, 34 years of age. You see the size difference. And even if she was in the ring with a fellow natural welterweight, the size difference probably would have gone in favor of Pinheiro. She's a tall southpaw here.
Yeah, she is, and now she's not a southpaw, turning to the orthodox stance. I like seeing that. Whenever fighters get too comfortable, you know, they like to give their opponents a different look. You know, but in women's boxing, you don't see much of it, but the confidence is there with Pinheiro doing both. And now going back to the left-handed stance. You know, I would like to see her jab a little bit more, you know, to not only to get Faria to commit to something, but to set up the big left hand.
Oh, she rocked her with a right hook.
Big right hook. Faria took that well. I'd like to see a left uppercut behind that right hook now, because Faria's falling over now because the balance is going off and the legs are wearing. So now look for right hook and uppercuts coming from the southpaw and Pinheiro. There's one right there, but to the body.
Pinheiro trying to size her up as, again, they go to the corner. That's where she's done the brunt of her work in the early half of this fight. Big swing and a miss by Faria.
See right there, a jab could be, you know, implemented to stop the movement. And she's squared up. Faria squared up. You can throw that jab to the chest or to the belly to get her stop moving left or right. And considering that Faria is not really a lateral mover, they can actually do damage with just a simple jab to the chest.
Through 4 rounds, Pinheiro trying to do as much damage as possible with an unfamiliar opponent in front of her in Kalindra Faria.
You see Pinheiro just missing with that right hand. There's what I'm talking about right there, Justin. Faria actually landed a good shot, you know, trying to time the bigger, stronger Pinheiro, but it's too far in between. We know that Pinheiro's in charge of this fight, but she does give up her height. That's when Faria needs to take advantage of this. I'll say it again. I'm impressed with the toughness of Faria and her fighting spirit that she's still in this fight, trying to land some punches and trying to find an opening.
And we got a second look on that replay when Pinheiro nailed Faria with that right hook that rocked her back. It was Pinheiro's eyes who widened because she saw that she damaged her a little bit.
Yeah, and the fact that she didn't put her down, and Faria came back with shots of her own. So I would think that she got the respect of Pinheiro already also.
Start around 5. Faria sneaking in a straight right hand. Again, Kalindra Faria, 2-2. She has been stopped before in her short boxing career. 38 years of age, out of Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Yeah, no, and the 2 wins that she does have are you know, against winless opponents. She's fought winless opponents before, so she hasn't fought the best. So the resume is, of course, on the Pinheiro side. But the toughness, I mean, both fighters are showing their toughness, but especially, you know, the fighter that just came on short notice in Faria.
Pinheiro telling Faria to stand toe-to-toe with her in the middle of the ring.
And now
there's no reason for Faria to abide by that, that's
no
for
way.
sure.
And now it's Faria turning southpaw, trying to give Pinheiro a different look.
What's the frustrating part about this if you're Pinheiro here?
Well, the fact that you're in there with a fighter that you didn't prepare for. It's a short notice opponent, so you didn't prepare for her style because you didn't know what her style is. Those big left hands right there.
And now she's peppering a stationary Faria. Melva Santos with a close eye. And again, it's going to take a lot to hurt Faria and put her out, but...
Yeah, she's tough. She's a tough fighter. And she's still trying to loop her shots, trying to land a big shot on the taller opponent. You know, whenever you got tall opponents like that get it responsible and just walk in, look, like that right there. That punch would have landed if Faria threw it with intention. You know, so she has the right idea. She just doesn't have the speed and the explosiveness to land it on Pinheiro.
1-2 combo from Pinheiro.
There it is again right there, Justin.
Trying to go for the big shot as Faria exhales as she goes back to her corner, the red corner here. That's her partner and coach, Christian Nogueira. Again, taking this fight probably around 72 hours notice or so. Maybe shorter. We were through the press conference. and they made the opponent switch.
Good uppercuts right there. That's what I've been wanting to see. More uppercuts from the taller opponent, but doing it responsibly, bending your knees, making yourself smaller, because if you're the taller fighter going for body shots, it's going to make you vulnerable to the shorter fighter. And if you're going to throw those uppercuts, you got to make sure you do it responsibly and tighten up your defense, making yourself smaller.
Stephanie Pinheiro entered fight week thinking that she was needing to earn a win over what would have been her most accomplished opponent to date in Ogolita Suarez. Instead, she's really fighting a huge question mark in front of her in Kalindra Faria, not knowing the style. And we've obviously seen the volume punching and the damage inflicted by Pinheiro, but this is a tough Faria. And a right and a left both connect there against the Brazilian.
And going into the sixth round, you would think that the legs would start wearing on Faria since she wasn't prepared for this fight. She comes from the MMA world, but her legs are still under her. She has a nice strength in it. You know, I don't see her wobbling or falling off balance. So again, we got to give credit. I'm giving credit to Kalindra Faria for being in this fight and getting her respect. You know, she's landed some licks in there too as well. Still trying to land shots like that.
Again, Pinheiro saying that she knows she needs to impress here tonight. She's high on the rankings, but this is only her 7th pro fight. She hasn't fought off the island yet. Just to push the envelope a little bit.
This is when Pinheiro should jump on Faria. She's not a natural southpaw, but look, she's giving you that southpaw look. So why don't you attack her when she's not on a familiar stance? You know, my trainer always tells me, if you're fighting an orthodox fighter and they switch to the left-handed, that's not their natural stance, so that's when you attack.
Quality combo from Faria, probably her best sequence of this match so far.
Absolutely, because she's punching over the top now. And you can see that Pinheiro's a little bit frustrated. She's looking for ways in to hurt, you know, Faria, but she just can't find one. Even though she landed something big there, Faria took it well.
Straight left laces Faria, and a quality combo from Pinheiro. Now she has her in the corner. And there's that uppercut, Sergio.
2 uppercuts, and you can see that Faria didn't like those shots. Right, look at how it reddened and bloodied the eye already. And those are those looping shots by the shorter fighter that I'm talking about, you know, but they're too far in between. And the end of this round, it was all Stephanie Pinheiro with those big shots, a big left hand, getting extension behind those wide shoulders, but it was this that actually did the damage right here. Nice shot right there by Faria, but the uppercuts that were busting up the eye of Faria right here towards the end of the round.
I think that left hand caught Pinheiro's attention, and she kicked it into second gear in the second half of that round. Seventh round of this 8-round scheduled match at welterweight. Our opening bout of the night here on Before the Bell, all leading into the main card coming up at 8 local, 7 Eastern. Leah Paro and Richardson Hitchins battling for the IBF Super Lightweight title here in San Juan. Getting a little lively here. We got the band entering the building, Sergio.
Oh, let the music begin.
Yes.
Can you salsa, Justin?
You know, I never tried, so I don't know.
There you go. Maybe you could try tonight.
Hey, there you go. Pinheiro coming forward.
Good step back there by Pinheiro. I love seeing that. Even though she's a flat-footed, you know, come-forward fighter, right there she showed a little agility stepping back to counter, you know, Faria. I love seeing that. I mean, she has dimensions. Stephanie Pinheiro has dimensions to her game, and you can see that she was a polished amateur.
Remember the Puerto Rican national team? Entering tonight, she had lost exactly 1 round in her 7 previous fights as a pro.
See right here, the taller fighter should be jabbing, you know, poking at that eye. busting her up from the outside, because right now it's Faria that's trying to move laterally and try to, use the time. You don't want to allow her to get her conditioning back and use that clock. You just want to keep popping her with that jab and popping that busted eye.
Another beautiful left hand landing moments ago from Pinheiro. The straight left present throughout these fights for Pinheiro that we've seen this year.
That jab, it could do a lot of damage, especially when you're as tall and rangy and have those wide shoulders. But the thing about Pinheiro, she's a volume puncher. She likes doing this on the inside.
Faria nearly going to a knee, but is able to retreat. She's on the run.
Oh, no, she's running away now. She can't be doing that. The referee will either stop this fight if she keeps turning her back like that. So they should tell her that in the corner. Do not turn your back anymore.
Certain points of this fight, especially in the beginning, as you see the referee Melva Santos going into Faria's corner, it just felt like it was Faria in survival mode, trying to stay in this match as much as possible. And her face is beaten up, but now she's 1 round away from going the distance again in an 8-round fight on short notice.
Oh man, I'm going to give her more credit than that, Justin. I don't think it's survival mode. I think she doesn't know how to adjust to the boxing movement. She's not. She comes from a different style. I just know she doesn't know how to move laterally like that. That's her only way. But she can fight, man, and she has a fighting spirit. We got to give Kalindra Faria some credit here, a lot of credit.
8th and final round of our opening bout. Pinheiro and Faria. And Pinheiro coming out super aggressive in the 8th and final round.
And you can even see it in the corner of Faria. Her trainer's getting up like they're winning the fight. They're just excited to be in this fight. The fact that they're being competitive and showing spirit. And that's why I'm saying, we got to respect Faria for what she's doing here against a solid, undefeated, fighter in Pinheiro.
Also a natural welterweight in Pinheiro.
And naturally bigger and stronger as well. So all the credit in the world for this late replacement. And the damage she's taking. I mean, look at her face. Look at her eyes. The blood. All that stuff wears on a fighter, especially when you weren't prepared to fight against an opponent. And look, shots like that.
Quality uppercut from Pinheiro.
Quality uppercut by Pinheiro, but Faria came right back with a hook of her own.
And we say all this about Faria, and I'd be hard-pressed to give a round to the Brazilian. So Pinheiro obviously doing a great job on her way to potentially pitching a shutout here to open up before the bell.
No, she hasn't won a round, but she's just held her own. She's losing these rounds. Held her own. She should keep her head up, her chin in the air, because she came and she's doing what she can.
Look, she didn't have these weekend plans on Monday.
No, she did not. And here she is in front of this monster in front of her. Coming right at her like Frankenstein, nonstop. Good body shot there by Pinheiro. Pinheiro's a really good body puncher for a very tall southpaw fighter.
Final 25 seconds. Another straight left landing on Faria. Pinheiro trying to finish off this target practice and improve to 8-0. Faria has proven to be the personification of a fighter.
Yes, sir.
Coming in here to Puerto Rico on short notice. She goes the distance. And look at her.
You got to give credit to her, man. Everybody needs to give credit to Kalindra Faria for what she did as a short notice replacement against a beast in Stephanie Pinheiro, but she lasted the distance. Moral victory. She should be excited. And I think her trainer realizes that, and that's the reason that they were excited. There's moral victory there.
Her trainer, her partner Christian Nogueira in the newsboy hat in the red corner. But we'd be remiss if we obviously didn't shed light on the performance from Steph Pinheiro here, going up against a really tough opponent. And she's also in this position, this stage in her career, where victories need to come with statements. And she just soundly beat up her opponent who was in front of her.
Look at that face. That's a statement to me, Justin.
Yep. So this one goes the distance despite the first round knockdown by Pinheiro. And I said it earlier, Sergio, Pinheiro's a fighter in her pro career who had lost exactly 1 round. I think that will remain true after we get the official judges' scorecards here.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 8 rounds of action here in San Juan, we go to the judges' scorecards. They all read the same, 80-71. For your winner by unanimous decision, La Medicina, Stephanie Pinero.
So La Medicina improves to 8-0. Doesn't get the third knockout, but she is 8-0, and she opens up the show. Here on Before the Bell. So Pinero, in her second fight since signing with Matchroom, gets the victory. And there's Kalindra Faria. Hats off to her. Again, taking this fight on short notice. Coming into town on Friday. And obviously it's a whirlwind day where you're trying to get acquainted, go over fight details. You go to the press conference, you weigh in. And then here, you're kind of just catapulted into fight night. And she acquitted herself nicely. So Pinero opens up the show with a unanimous decision victory over Kalindra Faria. And coming up next, it'll be Juan Zayas and Geraldo Valdez. It'll be Puerto Rico against the Dominican Republic here. And Zayas, a terrific product, full of potential out of Universal Promotions. We saw him fight on the Matias Paro card as well. So it'll be Zayas and Valdez, then Jaleel Hackett, Jose Roman, the main event on Before the Bell, William Ortiz, Leonel Colon. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from the fight.
Well, it's mostly going to be one-sided here with Pinero. You know, nice combinations, nice volume punching. You know, I like the fact that she didn't smother herself. You know, she kept her range. You know, that's very important when it comes to fighters with, you know, under 10 fights. You know, not smothering themselves, not making big, you know, making themselves a big target. You know, keeping the distance, their range, and going to the body, man. I love seeing fighters that tall with that much of an advantage. You know, it's giving up their height, yes, but they're also on the attack. You know, just shots like that, that opens up headshots. You know, nice combination puncher. You know, there was little moments of vulnerability, but overall it was a really good performance with technique-wise by Pinero. And of course, just all toughness on Faria.
Well, Pinero improving to 8-0, and again, getting her shots in, a variety of them. That straight left there from wire to wire. The uppercuts coming along as well over the 8 rounds.
Good shot right there, straight left hand. You can see how that jolted and shook the body of Faria, but that's where the toughness comes in. And not only that, but being smart enough to smother and clinch when she's hurt. So just a natural fighter in Faria, and you know, there's no shame in that loss. And Pinero is going to learn from this because she did take some shots like that from a tough fighter.
I don't think she can take another fight 10 days from now, though.
No, I don't think so. I mean, 8 rounds is 8 rounds. She's going to wake up sore, you know, come Monday. Even though her face held up and doesn't look like Faria's, her body's going to feel different.
Again, on Thanksgiving Eve, Faria was fighting in New England, in Andover, Massachusetts, picked up a split decision win, and she takes this fight 10 days later against Pinero. Pinero opened up the show with a very nice, decisive, unanimous decision victory here over Kalindra Faria. Well, we're ready to go. In moments, we will have our second bout of Before the Bell, but hard to believe in just 2 weeks' time we're going to be back in Riyadh for the sequel. It'll be Usyk Fury 2 over in Saudi Arabia.
Live on DAZN worldwide, Usyk versus Fury 2, December 21st. The first fight had it all. Now, the rematch. In the most anticipated showdown of the year. 2 opposing mindsets. 2 corners set to reignite. For redemption. For greatness, for legacy, two of the best on the planet will collide. Only one will end the year heavyweight champion of the world. Get closer to the action, closer to Fight Night on the global home of boxing. Live on DAZN Worldwide. Usyk versus Fury 2, December 21st. Buy now at DAZN.com/boxing.
Reignited Usyk Fury 2 coming your way December 21st. Live on DAZN pay-per-view 2 weeks away. And Sergio, hard to believe we're getting two of these matchups in the same calendar year, 2 weeks out. What are your thoughts going into this one?
Incredible. Boxing's in an amazing place, and you just got to credit, the heavyweight division to finally try to get a one champion in the four-belt era. And Usyk, it's just greatness. We're watching greatness before our eyes here, and I mean, if anyone can come back from a loss, it's Fury. Tyson Fury does well in rematches. He evolves and adapts well, but against a guy like Usyk, man, it's going to be very difficult.
Yeah, it'd be hard-pressed to discount Tyson Fury, given his resume and all he's done to prove a lot of naysayers wrong, come from behind, all that. But how do you see this one 2 weeks away?
Same thing, man. I just love the evolution of Usyk, becoming undisputed at cruiserweight and then going to heavyweight and doing just that. That's greatness, man. It takes a lot to do that, but he gets away with it not only because he filled out at heavyweight, but because he still has the footwork of a middleweight. It's the footwork that makes him special in the heavyweight division.
So if Fury is able to sort of reverse the table and come away, well, we're going to go into the ring with David Diamante for our second match of the night.
Saltos peso gallo. Por favor, bienvenido el pequeño gigante, Geraldo Valdez.
There's 32-year-old Geraldo Valdez. He's a short, come-forward bantamweight. He has power. He's 16-2 with 11 KOs, and the Dominican native is competing on the road, so to speak, for a third straight fight. Before this stretch, he only fought once outside the Dominican Republic. That was in Panama, where he suffered his first pro defeat, and then his last fight in Florida came in August when he was on the losing end in a unanimous decision against Michael Angeletti, and his last win actually came here in Puerto Rico last November. So he's going to try and get back in the win column for the first time in over a year, and against an unbeaten opponent for the second time in his pro career.
Y ahora, por favor, bienvenido, el invicto, peleando desde Bayamón, Puerto Rico, Juancito Zayas.
28-year-old Juan Zayas getting hugs and handshakes in on his ring walk. He enters tonight at 10-0-1 with 8 KOs, and the power puncher is back at bantamweight after he pitched a shutout on the scorecards in his last fight. It was a 6-round victory over Juan Centeno on July 19th. That fight took place at featherweight. Zayas was pretty transparent earlier this week, saying that he did not think that his power translated while jumping up 2 divisions, but now he's back at 118, and he said you will see the power come through, and he'll be stronger here tonight.
Damas y caballeros, de Roberto Clemente Coliseo aquí en San Juan, Puerto Rico, en vivo por DAZN. Estamos listos para el siguiente combate de la noche, presentado por Señor Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing in association with Universal Boxing. Presentado por BetOnline, Stagefront, Everlast, El Mexicano, Drip, Riyadh Season, Discover Puerto Rico, El Departamento de Turismo de Puerto Rico y Voy Turisteando. Los 3 jueces son Carlos Colón, Geraldo Martínez y José Silva, y el referee Melba Santos. And now, ladies and gentlemen, 4 rounds of boxing in the bantamweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, he wears black and gold. He's scaled 116.5 pounds. Professional record, 16 victories, 2 defeats, with 11 wins coming by way of knockout. Peleando desde San Juan de la Maguana, República Dominicana, el pequeño gigante, el Raldo Valdez. And his opponent across the ring fighting out of the blue corner. He was black with blue trim. He scaled 117.5 pounds. He is undefeated in his campaign as a professional with a record of 10 victories, no defeats, 1 draw, with 8 of his 10 wins coming by way of knockout. He fights out of Bayamon, Puerto Rico, Juancito Zayas.
Okay, muchachos, ustedes conocen las reglas. Okay, guys, you know the rules. Obey my command all the time. Obey todos los comandos que le dé. Protect yourself all the time. Protéjase todo el tiempo. Choquen guante. Dios te bendiga.
Ready to go for 8 rounds at 118 pounds. Sergio, I think we're going to be hearing a lot of foghorns in the arena coming up over these 8 rounds.
Foghorns and great music, but yeah, man, that's what I love about this crowd. A lot of passion.
Juan Zayas, a Bayamon, Puerto Rico native. This is his 4th match scheduled for 8 rounds. He's in the black trunks with the white waistband and the blue gloves. And then you have Geraldo Valdez out of Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic.
The PR versus DR, and it's a good matchup, good solid matchup between 2 fighters that never been stopped. You know, you got an unbeaten fighter, one with 2 losses, but good technique, good fundamentals, and it's going to be hard to pierce that guard. Both these guys keep high guard, elbows tucked in. So they're going to have to dissect each other with jabs and little by little find openings.
Zayas has recorded stoppages in 2 of the previous 8 rounders that he's fought in. But I think a win in any fashion against Valdez tonight would probably be the most impressive in the young Zayas' pro career.
I agree. No, definitely, and he's gonna have to earn it, like I said, because dealing with a tough fighter in Valdez, you know, keeps his hands up, you know, doesn't take too many chances. He has enough pop to keep you honest. So little by little, you have to break down a fighter like that if you're Juan Zayas.
Zayas has the height advantage. And he said his power will come back alive. Again, took a fight at featherweight, 2 weight classes above his comfort weight here at bantamweight. And he didn't think the power translated against those heavier opponents.
He's a tall fighter for that weight division, you know, so he can carry that weight a lot easier than shorter fighters. You know, they distribute that weight and that mass a lot evenly, and he's still light on his feet. So he's still growing into his man strength. Juan Zayas.
Right hand splits the guard from Zayas. Tries to double up the left from starting with the body.
That's a good body shot, but he got smothered. You know, he didn't really unleash it like he should have, or torque behind it, because Valdez smothered it, but it was a good attempt. You have to see a lot of jabs like that from Valdez. You got to open up, you know, from Zayas, excuse me. A lot of jabs. You're going to open him up and get Valdez to overcommit when you can counter him with something, because this is a fight between 2 fighters that don't make too many mistakes.
Valdez trying to work behind the jab here in the final seconds of round number 1. First round in the books here. Coming up later tonight, Liam Paro, Richardson Hitchins for the IBF title at 140 pounds. Paro making his first title defense after opening up a lot of eyes here on the island in June, taking down Sabril Matias for that world title as we take a look at the opening round between these two bantamweights.
Nice punches right there by Zayas, you know, not giving up his height, staying responsible and keeping that range. And that's exactly the opposite of what Valdez wants to do. He wants to break that range and get on the inside and attack that long body of Zayas.
Zayas is fighting in his home country for the 11th time in 12 pro fights. The only time that he did not come away with a win as a pro, Sergio, was the only time he fought outside Puerto Rico. And where was that? That was Valdez's native Dominican Republic.
Yeah, normally when a fighter stays in his hometown, it's a red flag. You know, you want to fight different styles. You want to get out of your comfort zone, out of your hometown, home country. So yeah, maybe the switch of style, maybe that Dominican style, you know, gives them some issues, especially the later this fight goes. Because 8 rounds, it's still enough time for you to develop. You know, you can get surprised by sneaky fighters that have amateur pedigree. You know, it's the 4 and 6 rounds that are dangerous. I personally didn't like those fights. They went too quick, and you weren't really, you know, picking up too much experience because the rounds went too fast.
Zayas doubling up the left hand moments ago.
Yeah, nice left hand there by Zayas. You know, nice left hook and came back with the same uppercut. Very athletic move by a tall fighter. That takes footwork and positioning. And athleticism, of course, you know, so I like what I'm seeing from Juan Zayas. That left hand is nice and educated. You know, he throws at the right time. Nice snappy puncher.
He's doing a good job on defense, deflecting most of these shots from Valdez. They're not coming in completely clean, despite that left hand to the body there.
Both these fighters, like I said earlier, Justin, they keep their hands up. It's hard to penetrate that guard. Neither of them have been stopped. Yeah, they're going to have to find a way to pierce that guard, and I think you're going to have to do it with patience and foot feints. You know, foot feints get your opponent to show what the punches they're going to throw. That way you can start opening up. Those are the things. Those are the little sly things you pick up. You know, when you're a professional, young professional. The power of the jab, the power of a foot feint, the power of patience. You know, let your opponent make the mistake. Let him, you know, get over aggressive, and that's how you mature as a fighter. Zayas doing a great job using the entire ring, you know, and always coming to the middle of the ring, staying off the ropes. Good ring generalship by Juan Zayas.
Both fighters competing with a lot of confidence in these first 2 rounds. Perhaps Zayas a little more in this final minute of round number 2. Good close range uppercut from Juan Zayas. Gets it with another check left hook again. The left hand finding a home here for Juan Zayas.
There's that left hand right there. Beautiful move right there. It takes a lot of athleticism to throw those 2 punches. A lead left hook, and then right off the bat, a lead left uppercut. Not smothering your shots, keeping the power, keeping yourself defensively disciplined. Really good polished boxing here by Juan Zayas.
trying to win his 4th fight, scheduled for 8 rounds. This is the 2nd of our 4 bouts on before the bell. With Sergio Mora, I'm Justin Shackle. All leading you into coverage for Paro Hitchins coming up later tonight on DAZN from San Juan, Puerto Rico. Set another example there, Sergio. Zayas just able to find his way back to the center.
And that's the beauty of ring generalship. It's very, very discreet the way he does it too. You know, he doesn't overly move his feet. He just slightly pivots away, and then he gets right back to the middle of the ring. It takes intelligence to do that. You know, it takes being aware of your surroundings and the fact that anytime you're getting near the ropes or near a corner, you want to give yourself an out, but not pivot in the same direction. And look, see, it's like a magnet going back to the middle of the ring for Zayas.
Zayas jabbing with Valdez's punches.
Yeah, but if you notice, Zayas does a little step with his left foot to not stay in the range or the firing line of Valdez. There's always a nice little foot movement to the left or to the right. And that's why Valdez is having a hard time not only closing the distance, but landing a clean shot. It's the footwork of Zayas.
Early on, a very good showing for Juan Zayas. 28 years of age, and the left hand connects.
See that? Look, against the ropes, Valdez, the shorter fighter, thought he was going to get him against the ropes, and Zayas goes right back to the middle of the ring. Like his feet automatically know, you know, they need to just gravitate to the center. See if he does it here, because he's been doing it so far this entire round, using the perimeter of the ring, and there he goes trying to control and get back to the center.
Looks like there is a cut over the right eye of Juan Zayas. There's some blood there.
Yeah, it looks like a headbutt. Normally, good body shot there by Zayas.
Zayas coming through with that left hand to the body.
That was a really good body shot. And normally when a young fighter sees blood like that, their adrenaline rushes and they start getting more aggressive.
Like right there.
You know, when you're a young fighter, you want to pass all these tests little by little. You know, you want to react how you're going to, you want to know how you're going to react when you get hurt, when you get rocked, when you get cut, when you get dropped. All these things are passing the test and the evolution of a young fighter.
All part of the climb. That first cut. How bad was your first cut?
Oh, terrible. I was a cutter. I was a bleeder, Justin. I got cut in my pro debut.
3 rounds in the books. Juan Zayas looking impressive, but his corner has some work to do here. Fourth round beginning here between Zayas and Valdez. Zayas in the blue gloves and Valdez in the gold gloves. Valdez trying to avoid back-to-back losses, entering at 16-2. Another left hand to the body from Zayas.
Or lateral movement there by Zayas, trying to use the entire ring. You must sense that Valdez is trying to get over aggressive here and you know, change the tide and get more physical. And Zayas doing the right thing, the mature thing, not giving him that. You know, just taking off this round, you know, moving around and then finding your ways again.
At the same time, sense that the comfort level is there as Valdez lands a right hand because Zayas is letting Geraldo Valdez just come to him.
You know, in every fight, there comes a point where a fighter takes a round off. You know, it's not really that he lost the round. He just gave that up. He gave that round up just to get his win and you know, get back on track. So I think that's what Juan Zayas is doing here. It's either that or Valdez is finally imposing his will. Good uppercuts there by Zayas. 3 left uppercuts. Another thing that takes a lot of athleticism. You know, throwing 3 hooks at the same time, 3 uppercuts at the same time. You know, not a lot of fighters do that.
Zayas perhaps being warned for a low blow.
Good shot there. Instead of coming in with a jab behind the right hand, it was a left hook, giving a different look to your opponent. You know, normally it's a 1-2 that you expect, but whenever you come around the guard with a hook and make it a 3-2, you can catch your opponent off guard.
Doubling up the left, Juan Zayas back to the middle of the ring.
And if you want to get even fancier, Justin, you make it a 2-3. You know, that's what my trainer used to do. That, you know, you got a lead right hand. Sometimes you don't always have to go in with a straight jab. You know, you come in with a lead right hand, and then you come around the guard.
Valdez pressing forward. How would you assess the power here of Zayas?
I haven't really seen much power. He's a strong puncher, but I haven't seen power like where the tide could change with one punch. He's crisp, he's strong, but it's not really power.
We're through 4 here between Zayas and Valdez. 2 more matches to come here on Before the Bell. Then the main card on DAZN at 8 Atlantic, 7 Eastern time, leading into Paro and Hitchins for the IBF World title. Body work being done by Valdez right at the belt line. And a lot of that 4th round happening at close range. Here we go, start around 5. Scheduled for 8. Pair 118-pounders. Juan Zayas here from nearby Bayamon, Puerto Rico. Geraldo Valdez from Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic. Good body shot there by Zayas.
There's another shot. We keep talking about he doubles up that left hand, but he does it nicely. He bends himself, he bends his knees, makes himself smaller, digs the body, and then comes right back up with the same left hand with an uppercut. Very impressive by a tall fighter in Juan Zayas to do that, and then goes right back to his stick, moving around the ring laterally, going to the middle of the ring.
He just halted Valdez in his tracks with a stiff jab moments ago.
Look, there he goes again, moving laterally to his right back to the center of the ring, and digging that body again.
He knows what he needs to do against a shorter fighter. Valdez, and then there's that stick jab. He's 2 inches shorter, and Zayas is just getting lower.
Good observation there, because that's what you need to do. You can't always fight tall. Like when you're a tall fighter, you have that height advantage. Yes, it is a gift, but you also got to make yourself smaller with a shorter opponent to give him different looks, because then he gets accustomed of where your head's going to be at punching up. I love fighting taller opponents. I personally preferred it much taller.
Zayas trying to showcase his speed here. challenging Valdez to throw so he could punch with him.
Yeah, and the way he's going to do that is by foot feinting. That's the only thing I haven't seen from Zayas, is foot feints to get Valdez to show you what he's going to throw and punch, and then you can counter off that. So when he sees this, I would like to see that Juan Zayas to work on his foot feints and try to get him to bite, you know, with those feints. Instead of posturing like this in front of him, you foot feint. There was a little slight one there, but you got to do it quick. You know, the quickness of a foot feint, you know, the faster the better. You know, it makes it look like you're punching, but you're actually just explosively moving with your feet.
The three-punch combo from Zayas followed by a three-punch combo from Valdez.
And the power of that feint, Justin, is when you do get him to bite, afterwards your opponent's not going to know, okay, is he going to foot feint again or is he going to punch again? And that's when you start showing him different stuff, different angles, and you just start popping him with that jab and you alternate your game plan.
When you vary up whether you're going to punch or feint first, then you have him.
Is he going to lie or is he going to tell the truth? I don't know.
There you see that cut over the right eye of Juan Zayas. He intended to, his trainer, Emilio Lozado, in front of him. They've done a good job so far maintaining that cut. But again, those two clashed again in the final second or two of the fifth round. You got to keep an eye on that cut for sure for Juan Zayas. Here we go with round 6. Sergio, for a short, come-forward fighter like Geraldo Valdez, what adjustments do you have to try and make now that you're in the second half of this fight?
You know, you got to try to rough him up, and rough tactics can work in your favor. I mean, you're only going to get a warning from the referee. But when you're being outboxed by a taller fighter, he's faster on his feet. You know, it's hard to pin down. That's when you just got to get physical. You got to get physical. Once you get on the inside, you try to muscle him around. Those are the advantages of a shorter fighter, you know, his short stature. And once you do get on the inside, you got to rough him up. Hit anything that he gives you. His hips, his elbows, his arms. And that's what I think Valdez needs to do here. And the way you close that is by jabbing your way in. You make yourself smaller and smaller, you know, hiding behind a jab, moving up, but you double and triple it up. It's hard to counter a short fighter's jab, especially when he does it, you know, with his chin down. So use that to your advantage. You know, you come in like a tank. You know, you just come in with double, triple jabs, and then you can loop your shots over the top. See, that's not going to work, leading left hooks like that. But if you get tight and concise and strong, and keep that chin up and just jab him all the way to the corner, and then you stop him from moving, then you punch around the guard and hopefully get something started offensively.
Tried to go around the guard with that right hand.
Yeah, but it's very tough to do it as a lead. You know, a lead right hand or a lead left hook, no matter how hard it is, it's harder to land. You got to jab your way in. Close that distance, break the range, then you can throw the looping shots. You know, there's advantages to being a shorter fighter. I personally hated fighting short fighters. You know, if you know how to fight like a shorter fighter, that means a lot of upper body movement, a lot of punching up, a lot of jabs to the body, a lot of looping shots, and punching in between the shots. That's how you take advantage of being short. Look, there you go. That's what he's doing right there. Punching around the guard of both hands.
Valdez going downstairs right there. Trying to get a win over an unbeaten opponent for just the second time in his pro career. Final 30 seconds of round number 6.
Good jabs there by Zayas. You know, you're in there with a resilient, tough fighter. And Valdez, you gotta just little by little just bust them up with jabs. You know, you can't throw combinations with a shorter fighter because they can throw in between the punches.
And 1 point being taken away from Geraldo Valdez. We're through 6 on what's been a terrific week so far here in Puerto Rico.
El verano es infinito y las navidades son otra cosa. Desde que se prenden las primeras bombillitas en cada hogar, lo seguimos hasta los Reyes. Los intercambios se dan en cada esquina. Y los mejores regalos, los que van de la tierra a la mesa y los que hacen las manos de nuestros artesanos. Nos vamos de road trip por todo PR, conectando con nuestra música y nuestras tradiciones. Por eso, yo turisteo y parrandeo donde vivo. Porque aquí, el jolgorio es infinito. Con Muy Turisteando y la compañía de turismo de Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico in December. Can't beat it. All reason to come here to the island.
Beautiful country, beautiful island, beautiful people, great food. I love it. I mean, the weather's great for December. I mean, can't beat it. Have you picked up any Spanish while here, Justin?
A little bit.
A ver,
phrases.
Dime.
Anyway, here we go.
Gracias.
Zayas and Valdez scheduled for 8 rounds here in our second fight on Before the Bell. This is the 7th round in a fight in where Zayas has controlled the overwhelming majority of it.
Controlled it, and what I've been more impressed with Zayas is his responsibility and discipline, sticking to the game plan. You know, there's times where, you know, he could have gotten a little bit more offensive, but he'll make himself vulnerable to a determined Valdez, and he hasn't done that. So anytime Valdez does try to get something going, he does just that. He smothers them, and he starts moving again, Zayas, always going to the center of the ring.
Zayas is 28. He began boxing when he was 14. Fought in 80 amateur matches. Was on the Puerto Rican national team in 2017 and 2018.
Yeah, you can see that. You can see that he's a polished fighter and that he has amateur experience because the technique doesn't lie. You know, the fundamentals, that's what it all starts with. And if you start with bad habits, those bad habits are going to be hard to break. You can see that he has pedigree and he's a polished boxer puncher. Good-looking kid, Juan Zayas. You know, bright future. I like what I see.
He's the only boxer in his family. His mother works in a hospital. His father's in the military. And he's holding another job. I mean, full-time boxer, full-time phys ed teacher.
No, you can't be a full-time boxer if you have a job. I'm telling you right now, no matter how talented you are, you're going to have to pick one career. And, you know, right now he can get away with it because he's young, he's naturally talented. But if he plans on doing something special in this game, you can't cheat on boxing. You have to give it everything, 100%.
Again, that cut over Zayas' right eye being maintained pretty nicely by his corner. What do you want to see from Zayas over the last round plus here?
He's not going to get, I don't think he's going to get Valdez out of there. So just jab, just stay disciplined, avoid another head clash or rough fighting from Valdez, and just keep popping that jab, and of course foot feints. I think that's one thing he's going to take from this. You know, hearing my critiques, I guess, is foot feints and just more jabs, but everything else, he looks great.
Big left hook connection moments ago might have been one of the more accurate and impactful punches of Zayas' night.
And that's the combination I've been liking from him. It's that left hand, how educated it is. It's just he throws a hook, right uppercut, back to the jab. It's a beautiful thing.
He doubles it up in various ways.
And look at that. Look at that slight little turn away from the ropes. He did it responsibly with the knees bent, head down, and then right back to facing his opponent. Really, really good-looking move.
Good round by Zayas as we head to the 8th.
Nice counter over a lazy jab there, Zayas. And see, right here is where Valdez should be catching and countering. You know, he's letting like that, just like that. What he did right there. anytime Zayas throws a shot and you block it, you got to come right back if you're Valdez and still looking to do something and still victory from defeat here because he's losing these rounds.
Juan Zayas looking to complete a 3-0 2024. Here we go with the 8th and final round. Valdez in the gold gloves, Juan Zayas in the powder blue.
Looks like Zayas is going to put on cruise control now. He's moving a little bit more than usual. Backing up, see like what he's doing here around the ring. He knows he has this fight in the bag now. He has a cut, so he went through that experience. Now it's just time to put on cruise control, not do nothing dumb, and put another win in the bag.
Accurate right uppercut landing moments ago. And again, keeping this fight in the center of the ring.
When it comes to the last round, for a fighter that's losing, he gets an adrenaline rush. So that's the reason I think Zayas is moving a little bit too much here, is because he knows he has this fight in the bag, and Valdez getting a rush of adrenaline, knowing that he needs to get a knockout to win this fight. And you don't want to give him that opportunity. Adrenaline's a hell of a thing, man. So you just want to keep doing what you're doing, that you've been successful in, moving, popping that jab. You're in there with a fighter that's never been stopped in 18 fights, a tough fighter in Valdez. Just be happy with this win. A one-sided shutout win, apparently.
Less than 90 seconds to go here in the 8th, and there you see the aggression, the urgency from Valdez.
Doing his best work because it's the last round.
Trying to go right back to work.
Good 1-2 there.
Good connection.
See, that's when Zayas can actually get some damage done. If he is wanting to hurt or stop Valdez, he has to do it when Valdez is getting aggressive and coming in with harder punches. The more power that you give, the more that you're vulnerable to power.
In a match where we've seen some headbutts, Valdez charging forward here in the 8th and final round. Trying to be cautious is Zayas. Again, this was his 4th 8th round fight. Could a graduation take place here next fight?
Yeah, I think
10 rounds?
this is his last eight rounds. You don't need more than a couple of 8-round fights to make it to 10-1. You get paid more. And 2, you already crossed that threshold. If you do 8, you're already a 10-round fighter. And then the 10 rounds is where you get stuck a little bit, because then you have to fight for a world championship in order to make that climb into 12. Nice performance, man. Really nice performance. I like what I saw with Juan Zayas against a determined fighter in Valdez. Passed the test, won pretty much every round, and passed the test of getting cut.
Well, Zayas was looking to score his most impressive win to date, and it appears that he will get that victory. We'll await the final scores from the judges. But Zayas very happy fighting here near his hometown of Bayamon, here in San Juan. Family and friends in attendance as well here at Roberto Clemente Coliseum, and you have to feel really good if you're Juan Zayas. Take a look at some of the action from the final round. Again, Valdez pressing the gas.
Yeah, Valdez fighting, squaring up, and actually making himself more of a southpaw when he was on the inside. I think he had success doing that. He didn't find really nothing as an orthodox fighter, but when he squared up, then he gave Zayas an opportunity to actually not know where he was coming from the right or the left. It's not a good look to square up like that, but when you're the shorter, strong fighter, then you can get away with it.
Valdez came to win. That's for sure. Hard puncher. kept coming forward, and he could be moments away from his second consecutive defeat here.
Yeah, second defeat with the second undefeated fighter. So that's what happens when you build your resume on soft opposition. Once you do take that leap to another fighter that's not accustomed to losing, you start falling behind and falling short in these fights.
Getting a really good look at that cut there over the eye of Juan Zayas. They'll have to heal up. That's a big step in the career progression for a fighter. The headbutt and the first cut and dealing with the adversity. And I tell you what, it's also good. It happened early. It happened in the first half of the fight.
Yeah, facing adversity is part of the evolution of a fighter. You want to know how a young boxer is going to react when he does face that, bleeding, getting hurt, getting dropped, having to come back from behind. A lot of these things are part of what makes a complete fighter.
Let's go into the ring and make it all final with David Diamante.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 8 rounds of action here in San Juan, we go to the judges' score totals. Jose Silva and Gerardo Martinez both scored out 78-73. Carlos Colon 77-74. All 3 for your winner by unanimous decision, Juancito Zayas.
Juan Zayas picks up the unanimous decision victory and is now 11-0-1. Coming away with another win here in Puerto Rico.
And at least one judge gave it 77-74, gave Valdez some credit for that, coming forward and occasional aggression. I thought it was more of an easy win, one-sided fight for Zayas, but at least one judge saw it differently. The other 2 judges, 78-73. I could see that.
78-73.
Damas y caballeros, aplausos por favor, campeón Juanma Lopez. Juanma Lopez.
Juan Manuel Lopez in the corner of Geraldo Valdez. Introduced there by David Diamante, but Juan Zayas improving to 11-0-1 as we're now halfway through here, our before the bell card, leading into the Paro Hitchins main card tonight on DAZN. Here you see Pinheiro victorious over Faria. Zayas, a unanimous decision win here over Valdez. So the first 2 fights go the distance, and coming up in a matter of moments, it'll be Jaleel Hackett and Jose Roman, and then Wilito Ortiz and Leonel Taz Colon in our main event on Before the Bell. The main card getting going at 8 Atlantic, 7 Eastern, live on DAZN, and it'll begin with Mark Castro, who's returning to 135. An intriguing storyline there for the U.S. prospect out of Fresno, California. He'll be taking on a tough Argentinian in Agustin Quintana. Yankel Rivera is going up against Angel Gonzalez. You have Henry LeBron, Christopher Diaz, and of course, Liam Paro and Richardson Hitchins. We didn't spend time on the first 2 fights on the main card, Sergio. Really quick, Mark Castro coming in. He's been at 135 before. He's been facing tougher opponents, especially here in 2024. This might be his toughest opponent here to date.
Anytime you're dealing with Argentinian fighters, you're dealing with power and guys that can take a punch. And the guys that know how to fight small and very strong and sturdy, good footwork. So yeah, Mark Castro, the evolution of Mark Castro has been very impressive to me because he's getting better every fight. He's not regressing. He's tough. He's a volume puncher. Excellent on his feet. Good body attack. But I want to see what he does when he faces adversity that we just saw in this last fight. So when he finally starts getting cut, getting hurt, getting hit, how's he going to respond? That's what we want to see.
So the Castro and Quintana in that first fight on the main card, and then you had Yankel Rivera going up against Angel Gonzalez in that one. And Rivera feels like he is a flyweight on the cusp of title contention. And look, we saw what Galliafai was able to do and kind of emerge. We know he was on the fast track, but last weekend in Birmingham felt like the coming out party as a pro for Galliafai. And you have to imagine that Yankel Rivera saw what happened there. That caught his attention, and he has his eyes on the prize at 112 pounds as well.
Yeah, you know, they're moving him really fast, and I like the fact that he's facing winners. He's facing guys with good records, you know, so they're moving him, but they're moving him in a responsible manner where they're just not giving him gimmies against 50-50 fighters or guys with losing records. So that's what you want to see on the fast track. Is he beating winners, and how is he beating them? And he's doing just that, passing the test, fighting well. You know, he's been hit, so we know how he's going to respond when he gets cracked. Very explosive fighter. I like everything I see with Yankel Rivera.
Rivera, 6-0, 2 knockouts, fighting back here on the island for the second fight in a row for Matchroom. And then it's the co-feature. You're going to see the Matchroom debut of Henry LeBron against Christopher Diaz. And would you classify this as a crossroads fight?
No, I don't think it's a crossroads fight. I think it's a solid matchup. You know, Diaz is very motivated. I mean, it's a type of fight for Diaz to show that he could still compete with up-and-comers and prospects and maybe even beat one, because anytime he stepped up, he's lost that fight and he's lost that effort. So not a crossroads fight, but yes, indeed, if you want to ever do something in boxing, Diaz needs to do something special.
And then here we are in San Juan, Puerto Rico, so it's only appropriate to have an Australian and a kid from Brooklyn meet up for a world title fight. And look, again, like we said, San Juan in December. No complaints from this quarter, that's for sure.
Sir.
You have Paro and Hitchins for Paro's IBF super lightweight title coming into this one. We saw the strategy, the game plan that he had set up for Sabril Matias in June, and he may have executed to a T, depending on who you want to talk to. What type of strategy do you think he needs to incorporate against Richardson Hitchins?
Well, if you ask me, he did execute that to a T, because he did everything right in that fight. You know, he wasn't loading up on shots. He was keeping the fight in the middle of the ring. He was using speed instead of power. Just a brilliant performance from beginning to end. He was shut down an aggressive, power-punching monster. And what I thought was a boogeyman in Sabril Matias, Paro did it with flying colors. And that's not the first time he's done it, Justin. He's been doing it all over. He's just one of these strong-minded, determined, smart, conditioned fighters. It's going to be hard to beat.
Time for our third match here on Before the Bell. Jalil Hackett, Jose Roman. Into the ring we go with David Diamante.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the legendary Berto Clemente Coliseum here in San Juan, Puerto Rico, live on DAZN, it's now time for a special welterweight title attraction. Set to make his ring walk, please welcome Jose Cheito Roman.
Here is Jose Roman, who is, well, he's 13-1, but Sergio, if you go off the BoxRec website, Roman is listed at 13-1, and he's ending a 26-month layoff tonight. But he contends he's actually 14-1, and he fought last year in the DR. But like many cases that we often don't hear about, the local promotion failed the competitors and did not upload the card to the website. But Roman showed us the match on YouTube. That came in April of last year, so his layoff isn't as long as we initially thought. But he also said he's also not long for the sport moving forward. He's 31, he has a wife and a son, he wants to be a family man, and he said he sees himself boxing for maybe 1 more year, so he's treating this one like a world title fight.
And now entering the arena, please welcome the reigning, defending, and undefeated champion, fighting out of Washington, D.C., Jalil Major Hackett.
Well, it feels like 21-year-old Jalil Hackett's trying to shed the prospect label as quickly as possible here. Hackett's 9-0 with 7 knockouts, taking a nice stroll to the ring. We saw him in July as the co-feature on the NS Avanesian card in a win over the veteran Peter Dobson. And in that win over Dobson, Hackett said he proved that he could go 10 rounds. He proved that he could dominate over a more experienced fighter. And he feels he proved he has a future in this sport at a high level. And the D.C. native has been a routine training and sparring partner of Gervonta Davis's, but in his second fight here with Matchroom, he's going to look to make his own name known to all in short order. He said whether this fight ends early or goes the distance, we will see him be dominant here in Puerto Rico.
Ladies and gentlemen, from San Juan, Puerto Rico, live on DAZN, we are set to go with our next bout of the evening, and it's all being brought to you courtesy of Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing in association with Universal Promotions. We're sponsored tonight by Bet Online, Stagefront, Everlast, El Mexicano, Apu.com, Riyadh Season, Drip, Discover Puerto Rico, el Departamento de Turismo de Puerto Rico y voy turisteando. This bout is sanctioned under the auspices of the World Boxing Association. The president, Gilberto Jesus Mendoza. The supervisor is Julio Time. Introducing your three judges scoring this contest from ringside. All de Puerto Rico, Carlos Colon, Gerardo Martinez, and Luis Ruiz. At the sound of the bell, your third man in the ring, Roberto Ramirez. And now, ladies and gentlemen, 10 rounds of boxing scheduled for the WBA Continental North American Welterweight Championship. Introducing first, the challenger. He fights out of the red corner, wears solid black trunks. He scaled 145 3/4 pounds. Professional record, 13 victories, only 1 defeat. He has 6 wins coming by way of knockout. Peleando desde Bayamón, Puerto Rico, Jose Cheito Roman. And his opponent across the ring fighting out of the blue corner. He is the defending champion. He wears black with a white stripe. He scaled at 147 pounds, bang on the welterweight limit. Professional record, perfect. 9 fights, 9 victories, with 7 of them coming by way of knockout. He fights out of our nation's capital, the District of Columbia. Please welcome the reigning, defending, and the undefeated WBA Continental North American Welterweight Champion, Jaleel Major Hackett.
Mouthpiece. Okay, you know the rules already. You are fighting here for the WBA Intercontinental title, okay? Ustedes están peleando aquí por un título WBA Intercontinental. I need you to follow my rules all the time. And remember, punches are good over the hits, this area, okay? Obey my commands. God bless you both.
Well, Jaleel Hackett coming in, searching for his 10th victory of his pro career. He's entering at 9-0 with 7 KOs. But you heard some boos as his name was announced. This is a road match for him. He's facing Puerto Rican in Jose Roman. And Hackett said earlier this week he doesn't mind being the road fighter, fighting the away match, being the villain even. As we get set here for 2 welterweights, 2 tall welterweights going at it in our third fight on Before the Bell.
Extremely tall welterweight, and Roman at 6'2". I mean, it's very difficult for a fighter that's, you know, almost 6 feet in Hackett to face someone that's taller like that. And sometimes when you do have to deal with taller fighters like that, it's harder to find sparring and to get prepared for these types of fights.
You see that signature left hook from Jaleel Hackett that was thrown moments ago, but Jaleel said that he likes to show taller opponents that they simply cannot out-jab him. He said whomever dominates with the jab's going to dominate the fight.
I love hearing young fighters say that, you know, because normally, you know, whenever you're dealing with someone that's taller than you, you think you can't out-jab them, but you can out-jab them, and you want to still show dominance when it comes to that lead hand. If you're Hackett, don't let the taller opponent get comfortable keeping you at range with that long jab.
Hackett's in the black trunks with the white trim down the side. And Roman with the white waistband on his black trunks. Jose Roman, as an amateur, fought the likes of Carlos Adames, Lester Martinez, began boxing when he was 13. Was a Puerto Rican national champion at 141 pounds. But again, at age 31, he talked about having maybe one more year to go in the sport. And I don't know, do you press the gas, you go all out? He said he was going to treat fights like this over the next year like they were title fights, or is it a little dangerous there that you know you have a fighter who has his eyes on the exit?
It's always dangerous when a fighter that's still, you know, in action to be talking about or even thinking about retirement, especially to be a family man. You know, to be a fighter, man, you have to be dedicated. You have to have tunnel vision. You know, you have to be hungry. And if you're already thinking about plan B, you know, that's when you can get hurt in this game. Nice jab there by Roman, but he kind of opens up that right side of his body. Notice how his right elbow opens up whenever he does throw that jab, kind of like a chicken wing. And so there's an opening for Hackett if he can dig down to the body, the right side of the body of Roman.
That elbow is elevated way up.
Yeah, and look at it when he extends that jab, how much he opens that out, that right elbow. Both elbows actually, but especially the right one. So if Hackett studied Roman, it's going to be counters to the body.
Good exchange at the end of round one between Hackett and Roman. From round one, Hackett countering with Roman. There you go. Roman getting slapped to start round number two.
It was a light slap.
Yeah.
If you remember the great Felix Trinidad, he used to get slapped by his father in the corner, man. I was like, yeah, I won't respond nicely if anyone slapped me that hard.
This is Roman's first fight scheduled for 10 rounds. He's only fought 3 matches scheduled for 8 in his career, and the last being in 2021. His last 2 fights were 6-rounders. Hackett, meanwhile, like we mentioned, his first 10-rounder came in July against the then 16-1 Peter Dobson.
I want to see how Hackett's going to respond if this fight gets into the second half of this fight, because there was rumors, and you know, I saw him around the hotel, that he was having difficulties making weight. So normally when a fighter, even if you're young, it takes a toll on you the later this fight goes.
We mentioned 2 really tall welterweights. It's not often you see as a big right comes in landing from Hackett, where you have a 5'11" welterweight and a 6'2" welterweight. It has to be tough to make 147.
Absolutely. And Hackett has the right idea coming over the top of a tall fighter, but you got to set that up to the body. You know, you got to get that taller opponent to think that you're going to punch downstairs, and you do that with jabs, just like that. Hackett tried to jab that torso, so keep your opponent thinking that you're going to keep punching low, and that's when you try to surprise them with something over the top. But you can't just do it with 1 or 2 times. You got to set that up. You got to lie to your opponent with foot feints and just sticking them and stabbing them to the torso. See that? It's not going to happen when you just come in the front door with a looping shot. I think Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Diego Corrales, you know, when Floyd Mayweather Jr. was, you know, just stabbing Corrales, the taller, lanky puncher, to the body, kept jabbing and jabbing and jabbing, and all of a sudden he turned that to a hook. That was a beautiful thing that Corrales wasn't expecting.
Another looping miss from Hackett moments ago.
See, there he tried it there, but the fact that he hasn't really convinced his opponent that the jab downstairs is going to be a power punch. You know, you got to really dig down there. You got to annoy your opponent with those stabbing punches to the gut. You know, a lot of people think they don't hurt, but they annoy you. You keep landing them in that breadbasket area, they're going to catch your attention and slow you down.
And Hackett taking advantage of the opening on the right side of Roman's body. Roman is the home fighter. He's fighting in his home country for the 9th time in 15 fights. He's fought in the U.S. 4 times as Hackett connects at the end of round 2. Pretty even over the first 2 rounds as we take a look at some of the action from round number 2.
See, Hackett looping those shots, and that takes a lot of energy out of you, man. I'm curious to see if Hackett's condition is going to hold up all the way to the end. Right now, when he went against the corner, he put his elbows on the ropes. You know, that's a sign of fatigue, believe it or not. You know, you don't want to see that so early in this fight.
One more fight to go here on our Before the Bell card, and then it will be the main card. Paro and Hitchins here from San Juan. Liam Paro, Richardson Hitchins for the IBF Super Lightweight Championship. Paro's first defense, Hitchins' first world title opportunity.
Good body shot there by Hackett. I think Hackett needs to invest in the body right here. Just there you go. See that the shots downstairs now are landing. That's actually keeping a taller fighter against the ropes and with his elbows tucked into block. Now Jaleel Hackett has the right idea. Don't be looping and winging shots over the top. Invest to the body, chop that tree down, and slowly break them down, and that's to the body.
There he goes, pumping that left hand into the body of Jose Roman.
And Roman didn't like that shot. That second one landed cleanly. You can see how he's holding on right there. He didn't like that body shot. The body's going to be the key for Jaleel Hackett.
Jaleel Major Hackett, trained under Gary Russell Sr. as an amateur, when a reported 140-19 as an amateur as he continues to pepper the body.
Another good body shot. And he's putting everything behind that shot because there's so much body to hit. So that's what you got to concentrate. Just keep everything needs to go down there. With both arms, attack both sides of the ribs.
Coming through with the uppercut.
I would love to see Hackett double up with those body shots. Either 2 lefts or 2 rights. But either way, just break the monotony of left, right with those bodies. Roman tangling up Hackett, trying to waste time here, maybe because those body shots actually had an impact. And he's feeling the effect of the shots to the rib.
Yeah, when he doubled up, and talking about Hackett, when he did double up, like you said, there's a good body shot from Roman. He appeared to hurt Roman.
Or at least catch the attention where he doesn't want to get hit there again.
Jose Roman has been knocked down once in his career. Now they fight at close range, exchanging some uppercuts to the body. Through two tall welterweights battling it out here in San Juan.
Nice alliteration there, Jeff.
You know what I can't say in Spanish, they make up for it with things like alliteration.
with rhyming, huh?
Onomatopoeia, you know, all those nifty things you teach you in grade school.
There's that body shot that we're talking about right there. And little by little, that hook will land upstairs once you keep, you know, your opponent's attention to the ribs. Those body shots hurt 2 times more than head shots or chin shots. They linger. That pain lingers. You much rather get hit with 2 shots upstairs than 1 downstairs, and that's the reason Roman went down there and tried to get, you know, some respect to the body as well of Hackett. Anytime a boxer lands a good body shot, your opponent wants to do the exact same thing to make you feel what he felt. So you can see Roman actually going downstairs as well now.
Roman sort of pawing at Hackett on the back foot.
And you know, there's a lot of people think that tall, say welterweights or tall fighters in lighter weight divisions can be body punchers, but Thomas Hearns, who was an extremely tall welterweight, was a vicious body puncher. And when he actually went down there, of course, he had that one of the best right hands in history, but he also was a mean body puncher for being so tall at that weight division.
Both fighters trying to go to that body here in the early rounds. A 10-round fight for Jaleel Hackett. And a good connect there on the left hand from Hackett.
Yeah, Hackett got him with that nice left hook. Roman didn't like that shot. You can see that he's clinching a little bit too long right there. That should urge Hackett to keep going. Press the fight now. If your opponent's trying to hold on, you just punch with that free hand. Let the referee warn your opponent for holding and clinching too much. There you go. Now Hackett has the right idea.
Hackett chipping away with right hooks. Sizing up Roman from the corner. And another left hook connection, followed by a right uppercut by Jaleel Hackett, rocking Roman back here in round number 4.
Man, you can see that Hackett has
there's a chin turner.
A great left hook, man. When a fighter misses a punch is when you see the technique behind it. And when Hackett misses that left hook, you can see how nice it just punches through his opponent, and the right hand stays against the chin, responsibly to defend.
Hackett perhaps finding a footing here against the 31-year-old.
Still not neglecting the body, going back downstairs. That's what opened up that onslaught. That success upstairs to the head is the fact that he was investing to the body. The fact that Roman has to watch for those body shots, keep those elbows tucked in, mind his defense, but then still have to, you know, be aware of the looping shots coming over the top.
This 4th round began pretty messy at close range, and then Jaleel Hackett landing some clean shots upstairs and downstairs against Jose Roman.
You know what? I wouldn't say it's messy, Justin. I'll say it's rough, but I think it was responsible rough.
Here's that 4th round action where Hackett had some good connects both to the body and right there to the chin of Roman.
And that's his money punch right there, that left hook. It's a beautiful shot, man, but I mean, he has so many tools that he's yet to really sharpen up, is Jaleel Hackett, but you could see that left hook is money.
Start of the 5th round between Hackett and Roman. 3rd fight on our 4th fight before the bell card here in San Juan, Puerto Rico. And the Roberto Clemente Coliseum continuing to fill in as we inch closer to the main card happening on DAZN, 8 p.m. local time, 7 p.m. Eastern. That was a pretty sequence from Hackett, doubling up the jab, but then immediately fading to the body. Roman said earlier this week that he refuses to fight Hackett's fight. But do you feel like that game plan's slipping away now?
Well, he's holding his own in this run. I like Roman actually going down to the body as well. The fact that any time that Hackett's trying to get something going, he comes right back to try to extinguish that. He's on the wrong end of it, but at least he's still showing some fight. Good body shot there by Hackett.
And now Roman getting some clean shots in on the 21-year-old.
I think Roman might be a little soft to the right side of his body. Look at how he's really guarding that right side of his body. I think those body shots are finally having an effect by Hackett. And of course, once that happens, you start over protecting that right side, then the chin opens up and the right side of your head gets opened up. And that's when the hooks start falling into place.
It's the domino effect. And we'll see how cerebral a 21-year-old can be in sensing all of that. And here, the accuracy perhaps punishing Roman. Jaleel Hackett continuing to press. You were talking about it at the very beginning, how you were intrigued about the conditioning for two tall welterweights in the second half of the fight. How would you assess it here right in the middle round?
Justin, I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to wait another round or two to say that I'm impressed at Jaleel Hackett for as much as he struggled making weight for this fight, because we've seen him in the weigh-in and before the weigh-in, and he looked dehydrated, but he's passing the test. And I think he's passing the test because, he's still young. He's still 21 years old. He's still strong. He's still fresh. And it hasn't really impacted him like if he was an older fighter. To be 21 again. Get away from cutting corners like that.
Sometimes I'm 21 in my head. That's dangerous.
Not me.
Yeah. Through 5 rounds for this fight. Again, scheduled for 10.
Nice and comfortable Hackett right there. Look, he's smooth now. Like he's like a radar. Everything he sees coming, he's barely pawing them off. You could see that he's not stepping back too far. He wants to stay in the line of fire because he's getting the better of it, but he's fighting real relaxed. I love seeing that from young fighters where they don't step back to where they get out of range and out of the offensive range and still staying in the pocket, rolling, barely making your opponent miss and making him pay. Great attack, great sequence by the young Hackett.
Jaleel Major Hackett trying to make another statement in his second matchroom fight. Back on that Enes Ivanesian undercard, he said right out of the gate after his signing, he wanted a test. He got it with Pete Dobson. Here he has another veteran in front of him in Jose Roman.
That was a good fight with Dobson, and I was impressed with both fighters, but of course, Jaleel Hackett passed that. And he has another stiff test against an opponent who only has one loss. 14 fights or a winner, guys that are accustomed to winning. These guys you can't just blow out the water. You have to earn your victory. You got to break down guys like these and find a way in. Hackett we know has a mean left hook. He's been investing in the body nicely, but now he has to put it to another gear and graduate by evolving by a mature fighter. And that's with the jab. You bust them up with that jab. Hard jabs, soft jabs, speed jabs, double them up, hit the chest with that jab, lead right hands. There you go, stuff like that. But you gotta switch it up now.
Straight right hand landing from Hackett moments ago. Yeah, Hackett talked about that fight with Dobson. He called it a learning experience, and he thought he didn't capitalize on all of Dobson's mistakes and vice versa. And he said it, you know, this is a kid, again, 21, but sometimes when he's speaking, you think there's no way this is a 21-year-old kid in the way that he's talking about the fight game, because there's a lot of maturity in his words. He says if he makes the same mistakes against better fighters, they're going to take advantage of his own mistakes.
I gotta say that we're not giving Peter Dobson enough credit, because one judge had a 96-94. It was a close fight. You know, both these guys got their licks in. Dobson's excellent fighter, excellent record. You know, 16-1. It's just Dobson came to win, and Jaleel Hackett is accustomed to beating down opponents and stopping these guys, but he's going to understand and realize real quick that some guys are going to fight back and be resilient.
Such is the case right in front of him right now in Jose Roman.
Exactly. You know, he's in control, but it's not a comfortable control. You know, he has a fighter that is not accustomed to losing in Roman and throwing some good shots in return to keep this a competitive fight. See, right here is where, you know, Hackett should be jabbing at the chest of the taller fighter. Roman has his hands down by his waist side. Just punch him right in between, like a target bullseye in the breadbasket. Stop him from moving and keep digging that right there to the chest. And then those looping shots over the top will land. Because you can see the technique is failing Jose Roman now. The arms are coming down.
Through 6 rounds, the younger fighter in Jaleel Hackett seemingly in control over Jose Roman. Roman getting instructions from his trainer, Jose Martinez. Round 7 underway between Hackett and Roman. And Jaleel Hackett in the black trunks with the white trim down the side. And the blue tape.
With the ruffle waistband. Is that how we distinguish these
What would
guys?
you call it?
Ruffle? Ruffled?
I could see that. It's like the Jerry Seinfeld puffy shirt. I don't know if you watch Seinfeld.
I do not, but my brother loves them. I wouldn't know the comparison you're trying to make, but I know that it's a good show. Great show.
Jaleel Hackett's wearing Jerry's puffy shirt on his waistband.
What do you call that waistband you use in those old tuxedos?
It was a cummerbund, yeah.
Yeah, that's a cummerbund.
Is a formal event for the 21-year-old. Yeah. These two have been battling at close range for the last 3+ rounds. Roman getting a good combination in there.
Yes, they have. And now Roman, a little fight coming out of him now. Now he's digging down to the body of Hackett. Roman, you know, he got tired of getting hit downstairs, and now he's wondering, hey, listen, let's see if this kid can hack it downstairs. I'm going to dig down myself.
Nicely done.
Oh, he caught that.
Ooh, an elbow from Roman.
Hey, listen, man, the referee didn't see it, didn't catch it, didn't say nothing. I love the rough tactics by Roman in this round. He's showing fight.
Giving the kid a lesson and seeing how Hackett responds.
Mm-hmm. And considering he's already thinking about retirement in the end, I mean, this is the way you want to do it. You go out on your shield, man. Leave it all out there.
And Roman has been on the shelf for a year plus. His last fight came in the Dominican Republic, according to him and his trainer. A fight not registered on the BoxRec website.
A phantom fight.
Yeah. He's listed at 13-1. Roman contending he's 14-1 after a 6-round unanimous decision in the DR. Hackett moving forward toward the corner. And this was a good bounce back round for Jose Roman.
I was about to say that, absolutely. I like what I saw from the fighting spirit of Roman, trying to still stay in this fight and trying to turn this fight around.
Next Saturday, we'll be back just outside of Los Angeles for Rocha and Curiel in Ontario, California. The action never stops here on the global home of boxing on DAZN. That will take place at Toyota Center in Ontario next weekend. Rocha and Curiel.
Great matchup, man, and credit to Alexis Rocha. Just tough fight after tough fight, becoming fan-friendly in the Southern California area. And another unbeaten tough fighter in Curiel that he's going to face.
Beginning of round 8 between Hackett and Roman. And here we go. Great exchange out of the gate to start the 8th round.
Roman countering to the body now, man. This fight's picking up. And I love the fact that he waited to the second half of the fight in Roman, because if the rumors are right that Jalil Hackett had struggles making weight, then this is when exactly the condition's going to take in effect.
Can Hackett truck through over the final 3 rounds here in Puerto Rico? Try and put an exclamation point on this matchup between he and Jose Roman. See, last round Roman got away with the elbow, but there Hackett, he was caught. He got caught by the referee.
Hey, well, listen, you try to get away with what you can get away with, especially if you're behind on this fight. He has the right idea. Jose Roman needs to, find a way to kind of start frustrating this kid.
Roman slowing down just a bit comparing to last round. Did you anticipate this being such a close range fight?
You know what? I did. I thought it was going to be a close fight. I thought there was going to be a good fight and a good exchanges. But I'm impressed with the fact that Roman is actually coming back in the second half of the fight, trying to make it a fight, not be content with just jabbing and being on the outside and moving. He's finally getting a little gritty here.
Hackett fighting with his mouth open.
Normally when good right hand there by Roman. Normally when you have that much of a size advantage, height and reach, you want to stay on the outside, but now Roman needs to start finding another way to win, and that's making it rough himself.
Roman told us in the fighter meetings he will dictate the pace of this match. But here Hackett getting some clean lands in the middle of the ring.
Yeah, he's getting some clean lands, but this is probably the best round of Roman's in the fight. He's landed some good shots right on Hackett, and I would say if you're going to give a round to Roman, maybe this one's it, but this is a good round.
The 7th round, the 8th round here. What will the final 2 rounds show us? Taking a look at some of the action from round number 8 and what's become an entertaining second half of the fight.
That was a good sequence there by Jaleel Hackett, but this is what I saw right here. Hackett getting hit with some shots of his own, with Roman with hooks and good body shots in that round. I mean, an excellent round for both fighters, but I think Roman finally got some respect in this round.
Ninth round underway between Hackett and Roman. And scheduled for 10. Roman standing at 6'2", Hackett at 5'11", trying to improve to 10-0. And looking toward 2025, Hackett sincerely believes that he is creeping in on a world title shot, and you mentioned Brian Norman's name specifically.
A lot of courage by a young fighter, because no one mentions Brian Norman's name, because that's a serious jump, you know, for a fighter with only 9 fights in Hackett. But that's what you want fighters to be thinking. You know, they want to bite off more than they could chew. It's up to their promoter and their team to slow them down, Tiger. Slow them down. We got a lot to learn and a lot to do in this career.
Roman on that exchange telling Jaleel, hey, you want to come inside? I have something for you.
Yeah, Roman has figured out something in the last couple of rounds.
And here might be his best sequence of the entire fight.
I thought in the last round he had some moments and really good moments, and right here he's having an even better round. And this is where we started thinking if the conditioning is going to start coming and betraying Hackett, if the legs are going to go, if he was going to start breathing heavy. But, you know, credit to the young man, only 21 years old, still being in there, hanging his own, and not really not being too fatigued.
Again, Roman meeting Hackett in the middle of the ring with a 1-2 combo, going downstairs to the body.
That was a good
with
body
a connect.
shot. Good body shot there by Roman, but Hackett didn't even flinch.
Hackett continues to move forward here against Roman. Tell you what, if the judges are seeing what we've seen over the last 2+ rounds, round 10 could be pretty interesting.
Well, I mean, in our last fight, I thought it was a one-sided fight, and, you know, it was closer than I expected. So, yeah, these judges are giving credit to boxers on the back foot and the counters over the volume and the pressure. But I agree with you, Justin. The last 2 rounds have been the best rounds of Roman in this fight. Roman, I think, you know, if he can close out strong, maybe he can get a knockdown, it could be interesting.
Final 10 seconds here of round number 9. Roman laying along the ropes, meets Hackett with a jab.
A power jab.
3 quality rounds in a row for Jose Roman here.
There's Roman going downstairs just to get the arms down of Hackett, just to attack the body. You can see by the face of Hackett, he's getting hit with those shots. I mean, his eyes are swelling up and bumped up. So Roman is having success in this fight, even though it's far in between. They are effective.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 10th and final round.
One more round to go here. After this, one more fight to go on before the bell, before we kick off our main card at 8 p.m. Atlantic, 7 Eastern on DAZN. All leading into Paro and Hitchins for the IBF World Title tonight. Does Jaleel Hackett feel like he has enough rounds in the bank? Or does he need to sprint across the finish line here in the 10th against Roman?
I don't know. If he sprints, he's going to get hit coming in because Roman's boxing good on the back foot. He's having another good round right here. He's popping Jaleel Hackett on the way in. If you notice, Hackett's just walking in, getting hit with anything straight that Roman is throwing. You got to give Roman credit for doing that countering on the back foot, which is not easy to do.
From the seventh round on, the momentum continuing to grow here for Jose Roman.
Hey, man, 7th inning, I don't know, he's swinging away with that bat. I'll tell you what, he's going for a home run. Jose Roman is doing really, really well in the second half of this fight, and that's exactly what I wanted to see. Now you're seeing the fatigue that I expected to see in Jaleel Hackett, because if he did struggle in making weight, it was going to catch up to him the later this fight got, and finally we're seeing that in his body language. He's getting hit more, he's getting more sloppy with his technique, and you could see that Roman still has pop in his punch and pep in his step.
And again, Roman excelling on the back foot here in round 10. Well, Jaleel Hackett said that we would see domination tonight. It has disappeared here in the second half of the young welterweight's 11th pro fight. I beg your pardon, 10th pro fight.
Yeah, this is a learning experience, a painful learning experience for Hackett. I mean, it wasn't crucial physically, but he got hit way more than he should be getting hit. And this fight just shows that he's not ready for the fighters that he's calling out. You know, he still needs to develop and get polished up with tough fighters that aren't accustomed to losing, just like the man in front of him.
And he put together a quality 20-25 seconds before the end of this match. And again, Roman with the beautiful counter.
Yeah, this is a fight where you can easily give Roman at least 3 rounds, 4 rounds, who knows.
Jose Roman caps off this 10-rounder with an impressive showing in the second half, specifically rounds 7 through 10. And he made this a lot closer than what it appeared like it would be through the first half of the fight.
Yes, he did, and you can see it in the body language of his corner. You know, they feel like they did enough to maybe shock the young Jaleel Hackett, but we're gonna find out if the judges gave him any kind of credit in those early rounds, because those are early rounds, and to see if he was able to steal 1 or 2 rounds, because the second half of the fight was definitely Roman's.
Jaleel Hackett coming through his 10th pro fight with a good test. But what will it mean when the scorecards are read? Don't forget, he said he relished the opportunity of coming here and being the road fighter, taking on a Puerto Rican in Puerto Rico. Roman had the crowd behind him. What type of effect may that have had on the judges as they were watching this fight in the second half? So we'll see. We are about to get the decision and then the main event between 2 undefeated prospects here from Puerto Rico. Wilito Ortiz, Leonel Colon coming up. And then the main card beginning on DAZN at 8 p.m. Atlantic, 7 Eastern. Well, judging from the crowd, we know what they think.
Well, they got to give him credit. They got to give one of their own credit, because he did have a successful second half of this fight, and nothing to be ashamed of. Jose Roman, whether this is his last fight or not, he still wants to consider retirement. He had a good showing against an undefeated, ambitious fighter in Jaleel Hackett.
He'd like another year in the fight game, he said. And he said he would treat this one like a world title fight, and I think we are ready to make it official here. This is going to be an interesting one.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 10 rounds of action here in San Juan, we go to the judges' score totals, and they read as follows. Carlos Colon, 96-94. Luis Ruiz, 96-94 for Jose Roman. Carlos Colon, 96-94 for Jaleel Hackett. Gerardo Martinez, 96-94 for your winner by split decision. Y lo nuevo campeón, WBA Continental
Jose Roman coming through.
Puerto Rico, stand up for your man right now. I mean, what an upset. Beating an undefeated, strong Jaleel Hackett. And I'm telling you, man, when we saw Hackett before the weigh-in, he did not look right. The second half of the fight caught up to this young man's conditioning, and Jose Roman took full advantage of it with an upset.
Jose Roman in tears of joy, getting his arm raised here in Puerto Rico, picking up the biggest win of his career. A split decision victory here over the prospect Jaleel Hackett. Embracing his trainer Jose Martinez. And I tell you what, judging by the second half of this fight, for the family man who believes his time is nearing its end, may want to rethink that.
Yeah, Jose Roman is not retiring. He's not going anywhere. Sorry to tell you, buddy, you're fighting in 2025 with the opportunities coming your way.
The WBA Continental North American welterweight title is now his. Jose Roman getting the victory here on Before the Bell. Taking a look at some of this action as Roman with the upset over Hackett in Puerto Rico.
What a big upset, man. That was a big upset. I mean, Hackett was winging away. He thought he was going to have an early night coming over the top. That wasn't the case because Hackett actually was countering in between the shots, just like that. Just like that. And that started having an impact, not only in the face by bruising and the eye that started shutting on Hackett, but it was the body shots as well. Both these fighters went down to the body really nicely. Right there you see Hackett going downstairs, but it was too far in between because Roman had a lot of fight left in the tank. And you could see that his strategy was to fight in the second half of the fight. Because it was all him right now. There's those body shots I was talking about, Justin, and that took the fight and the legs and conditioning, the technique out of Jaleel Hackett.
Really from round 7 through 10, I'd be interested to see the individual scorecards and how they individually scored the second half of the fight, which rounds went to whom.
Just really good counters, effective counters by Roman. I mean, right at the nick of the time, he was catching and countering. Look, just like that. Beautiful shots. He got more comfortable as this fight went on. And I love seeing that, man. I really love seeing that from fighters that are questioning their career, questioning where they're going to go in life, to have moments like this to make them have another perspective and still have a lot of fight left, man. What a beautiful, beautiful moment.
Tears of victory for the 31-year-old from Bayamon, Puerto Rico. And now Jaleel Hackett, falling to 9-1, suffers his first loss of his career. Quickly, where does Jaleel Hackett, the prospect, go from here?
Well, if it's not a rematch, then he has to go back to the drawing board because this is a big step backwards for an ambitious fighter that was already looking at the stars, but not quite there yet.
Jose Roman victorious via split decision here over Jaleel Hackett on Before the Bell, an upset in San Juan. Main card coming up, and it'll lead into the main event tonight. Paro and Hitchins for the IBF world title. Next weekend, it's Monte Carlo, and then 2 weeks away, back to Riyadh for Usyk for E2.
What is it you would like to talk about?
Ah, you're awake, Mr. Fury.
How was your flight, Rabbit?
Is everything okay, sir?
I say, use our people.
You dropped your wallet.
You don't look at me anymore. I miss you.
Do you miss me?
Don't be afraid. Think of me. I'm gonna punch your face in. Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
Show me your face. Show me your face.
What are you doing here? Wake up, lad! Dad?
Hey, Dyson. We need to end this.
I'm gonna end you.
I'm ready to.
Back here at Roberto Clemente Coliseum in San Juan before the bell. Along with Sergio Mora, I'm Justin Shackle. Main card coming up on DAZN at 8 Atlantic, 7 Eastern time. As we take a look at the before the bell card, some of the results from our first three matches. We just saw a split decision upset by Jose Roman. 31-year-old taking down the prospect from Washington, D.C., Jaleel Hackett, via split decision. And Roman getting the biggest win of his career. Still to come, Ortiz and Colon, our main event scheduled for 8 rounds. And then, like we mentioned, the main card on DAZN, beginning with Castro and Quintana, Yankel Rivera, Angel Gonzalez, the flyweights going at it. And then an all Puerto Rican fight in our co-main event coming up at 130 pounds. Henry LeBron makes his Matchroom debut against the two-time title challenger in Christopher Diaz. And Liam Paro and Richardson Hitchins square off in the main event. Paro's first IBF super lightweight title defense. And for Richardson Hitchins, a surreal moment as he fulfills a lifelong dream in competing for a world title. Lots of moments coming from yesterday's weigh-in happening in San Juan between all of the fighters competing on this card. And again, the weight is a big storyline for Mark Castro in our opening bout of the night. This fight taking place at 135, looking full. We'll see how Castro reacts going back up to 135, taking on a tough Argentinian fighter and really an unknown. That's what makes those Argentinians a little dangerous around these weight divisions, as we've seen.
Well, the fact that they're powerful, they come to fight, they relish this opportunity, and yeah, normally they upset the apple cart.
The 7-time Puerto Rican national amateur champion Yankel Rivera, Angel Gonzalez, a Puerto Rican fulfilling a dream to fight here in Puerto Rico. Angel Gonzalez resides in Florida, has made a name for himself fighting mostly in New England, part of Jimmy Birchfield's CES, who you can see in the background there. And it'll be Rivera and Gonzalez at 112 pounds. And then Henry LeBron and Christopher Diaz going at it in the co-main. What are you expecting from Henry LeBron after this layoff?
Well, it's always tough to see what a what a boxer puncher does whenever you have a layoff like that, because it has a lot of effect when you're dealing with footwork, when you're dealing with timing, when you're dealing with counter punching. All that stuff takes a couple of rounds to shake off. So that first half of the fight is going to be interesting. It really is.
And then the main event, not too much talking being done in the final face-off yesterday between Hitchins and Paro. We saw a lot of chirping, some snafus on the beach, shoving at the press conference, but it was all down to business in the final stare down yesterday.
Yeah, talking's over. And we know that all the talking was being done by one side. That's Hitchison. But that's what he does, man. He loves to build up the fight. He could definitely back it up. He knows how to box. That jab's going to be hard to get past. But Paro, man, what a road warrior. And remember, he's the champion. So he's going to defend that, and it's going to be a hell of a clash of styles.
Two undefeated fighters going at it for a world title. Two matchroom fighters going at it. And they come to Puerto Rico to get it done and see who will come out on top here tonight in San Juan. Big show in Monte Carlo coming up, of course, next weekend. Also, Music Fury 2 in Riyadh. And before this year is out, we get a look at the Bradford Bull once again. Johnny Fisher is in action as well, and some of the names that you will be hearing from this matchroom stable as we close out 2024 and creep toward 2025. And we're closing in on the ring walks for our final fight here on Before the Bell. This one will be 8 rounds at 140 pounds. So the division featured in our main event on the main card. It will also be featured on the main event of our undercard action. William Ortiz, 6-0 against the 6-0 Leonel Colon. I'll tell you what, Sergio, doing these Before the Bell broadcasts, you often get two fighters who have never seen one another before. These two are a little familiar, and they've been jawing back and forth in the lead-up. Nice to see.
As they should, because both of them don't know what it's like to lose. I mean, both these guys have a perfect record, 6-0. It's exactly the type of matchup that you want to see with young up-and-comers. You want to test them, see who takes the next step forward, who has to go back to the drawing board and learn a couple of other things before you step up with another unbeaten, undefeated opponent. Love seeing these matchups this early in their careers.
All right, let's get it going with David Diamante.
Damas y caballeros de San Juan, Puerto Rico, en vivo por DAZN. Estamos listos para el siguiente combate de la noche. 8 asaltos, peso super ligero. Por favor, bienvenido ahora mismo, Lionel Taz Omar Colon.
There is the fresh-faced 19-year-old Leonel Taz Colon. He's 6-0 with 3 knockouts in just 15 months as a pro. He lives and trains just outside Orlando, Florida, but he grew up here in Puerto Rico for the first 15 years of his life, and he scored a 6-round unanimous decision win over Carlos Matos in Mayagüez back in August. But he's largely an unknown quantity here. He's undefeated. He's recorded the 3 stoppages, but none of his prior opponents had winning records, and 4 of his 6 opponents had 5 fights or fewer on their resume, so he plans on opening up a lot of eyes in his 5th pro fight here in Puerto Rico.
And now entering the arena, also undefeated, de Bayamón, Puerto Rico, Wilito Ortiz.
Wilito Ortiz is 21 years of age. He's 6-0, looking to close out a memorable 2024 in the ring. He signed with Matchroom just before the summer. Looked impressive in a unanimous decision win over Carlos Mitzael on the Matias Paro undercard. Showcased that sweet, straight left hand. And now the former Puerto Rican national amateur champ once again trying to show off the skills that make him a tough fighter for anyone to match up against at 140 pounds. This is a tall, rangy southpaw about to enter his first match scheduled for 8 rounds.
Damas y caballeros, de Roberto Clemente Coliseo aquí en San Juan, Puerto Rico, en vivo por DAZN. Estamos listos para el siguiente combate de la noche. Presentado por Señor Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing in association with Universal Promotions. Both fighters undefeated. The 3 judges scoring this contest from ringside: Gerardo Martinez, Luis Ruiz, and Jose Silva. And at the sound of the bell, your third man in the ring, referee Luis Paro. Now, ladies and gentlemen, 8 rounds of boxing scheduled in the super lightweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, he wears the bandera de Puerto Rico. The red, white, and the blue. He scaled 139 1/4 pounds. Professional record, perfect. 6 fights, 6 victories, with 3 of them coming by way of knockout. Peleando desde Moroví, Puerto Rico, Lionel Omar Das Colon. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner. He wears the white trunks with the pink trim. He scaled the super lightweight limit of 140 pounds. Bang on. Professional record also perfect. 6 fights, 6 victories, con 4 triunfos por vía del cloroformo. Peleando desde Bayamón, Puerto Rico, Willito Ortiz.
Okay, guys, I give you instruction in the dressing room. Let's have a clean match, okay? Le di las instrucciones en el camerino. Vamos a hacer una pelea limpia, que ganemos. Suerte. Dios los bendiga.
Well, Sergio, you called Ortiz's last fight against Mitsael back in June, and he was throwing the straight left hand at will. It looked effortless. It led to a pair of knockdowns. He said it's been his favorite punch since he was an amateur, and we got to be on high alert for that straight left hand from Ortiz, who you see with the white gloves on the left side of the screen.
Yeah, and he alternates it perfectly. He throws it straight and he loops it over the top. He comes in with the body shots. So it's the left hand that actually really makes this tall southpaw at 6 foot really special. That mean left hand that can come from any angle.
Colon pretty tall for himself, 5'9", both with wide frames. This would be Colon's biggest win to date for sure. And those introductions, they drew the loudest reaction. I know the place is getting more full, but they drew the loudest reaction from the fans. And Ortiz got the brunt of the boos.
We got 2 Puerto Ricans fighting, so yeah, both of them feel at home.
And they were chopping it up on local talk radio ahead of this fight. And Colon told us that he's the quiet kid. He doesn't like to talk too much. But Ortiz and his team, they took the trash talking to another level. Colon said, I couldn't stay quiet any longer. I had to give it back. So he thinks Ortiz was just trying to get to him mentally, but it wasn't working.
What I like about Ortiz is that, he's a very patient, calm puncher. You can see that he has power. He puts leverage behind those long shoulders and the long arms, but he really doesn't like to waste movement and punches. And anytime he throws with mean intentions. But he has good footwork too, so he's responsible behind it. He doesn't fall off balance for a tall fighter. When tall fighters square up or lose balance, they become the target because that height goes against them. But he stays upright. He fights responsibly. He's good on his feet, nice and athletic. So he's developing nicely as Ortiz.
Both fighters exchanging straight right hands moments ago. Ortiz from Toa Alta, Puerto Rico. It's roughly 30-minute drive west of the Roberto Clemente Coliseum. He started fighting on Miguel Cotto promoted shows here in Puerto Rico. But this is his second show at Matchroom since they signed him back in May.
Ortiz just missed with a straight left hand, which is his money punch right there. You can see he's trying to time Colon coming in.
Action from round number 1.
There's something you don't see that often is Ortiz leave his head in the line of fire to get countered back, but Colon threw a nice, well-timed shot. There's that left hand that just barely missed for Ortiz. You know, it's a very accurate punch. He's an accurate puncher, William Ortiz, but making him miss like that, and Colon had a pretty decent round. Both of them had their moments.
Taz Colon trying to win his first fight, scheduled for 8 rounds. Good connect there. He moved to the Orlando area, a suburb of Orlando called Ocala, back when he was 15, finished high school in the U.S. And he said he gets his work in Central Florida, goes to Miami frequently for sparring as well. Trains a lot with Gio La Roca, another young prospect.
Colon trying to time that straight right hand, trying to catch the southpaw coming in. But you can see how much bigger, William Ortiz is. The wide shoulders, the body when they stand in front of each other. Not only the height, just look at the width of their body. So Ortiz is definitely the bigger, taller, rangier fighter in this fight. But Colon has pretty good footwork and timing, so maybe he can break that distance with breaking that rhythm.
Yeah, Ortiz is a real unconventional frame for a 140-pounder. Broad shoulders. We talked about the height.
Yeah, Colon,
he gets his head snapped back by Ortiz with that straight left, Sergio.
Colon actually is pretty big for a 140-pounder, but he's dealing with someone that's just abnormally big in Ortiz.
There's the straight left again.
And he brought his foot over, which is something he normally doesn't do, but he did the responsible thing. He as soon as he fell off balance with that left hand, he dipped down. He didn't stand right back up. So you can see that he's a tall, athletic fighter that even when he squares up and falls off balance, he stays down so the counter won't get him. Those are things that you practice in the gym, Justin. You don't just come to under those lights and do stuff like that. I love seeing that from tall fighters.
Another 1-2 combo connected by Willito Ortiz, rather. Colon staying composed. Trying to come back with a 3-punch combo.
Yeah, you can see that Colon's not trying to keep up with the volume and the punches of Ortiz. He's just trying to time, the right shots, especially with that straight right hand. Colon does have pretty good pop in that right hand if he can land it cleanly.
Willito Ortiz getting his timing down here in round number 2. Coming up tonight, our main event here in Puerto Rico, Liam Paro and Richardson Hitchins squaring off for Paro's IBF Junior Welterweight World Title. Both fighters coming in under the 10-pound rehydration limit this morning.
which was a concern in the Hitchins camp. You know, he didn't like that last rehydration clause against Lemos, and he said it had a lot to do with his performance, but this time around looks a lot sharper, cleaner, like he made the weight comfortably and filled out nicely.
See if it translates into a good performance here in a world title shot tonight. And that main card coming up on DAZN at the top of the hour. Start of round 3. What are you liking so far from Ortiz?
Well, I like the fact that he still hasn't let Colon break the range. He's still keeping it. He's still fighting tall, and he's still looking for that straight laser-like left hand. But right now, Colon is actually being good with his upper body movement, good with his footwork. You can see how his reaction and time is there. So Ortiz is going to have to, break him down, chop him down. More jabs if you're William Ortiz to get the upper body to stay still of Colon.
When it comes to Wilito Ortiz, Taz Colon thinks that he does not like getting attacked to the body. He thinks once he starts touching the body that Ortiz is going to back off, but we've yet to see any real body work from Colon.
I can tell you that every fighter doesn't like getting hit to the body. There's a good body shot by Ortiz, but those are things that you have to practice in sparring against taller fighters. You have to slip that jab and make sure you don't fall off balance or square up when you're trying to attack the body, because then you're going to be vulnerable to uppercuts by the taller fighter. See, just like that, if he would have fell off balance and squared up, he would have been open from the bottom. And Ortiz does throw uppercuts. He's a really good all-around fighter. Just needs experience under his belt.
Swiping right hand moments ago from Ortiz.
There's a nice foot feint there by Ortiz. I love seeing that. See, those are things that develop a young fighter even faster. When you see stuff like that, foot feints and fighting off speed, not falling off balance, not squaring up, not smothering, you know that they're gonna develop a lot faster than other young pros.
Ortiz, the southpaw, keeping the lead foot on the outside. Continue to build the pattern. Good connect right there.
Good shot. Nice right hook. It wasn't a tight right hook. It was kind of a jab. Turned it into a hook in the last minute, but it connected nicely.
That jab snapped Colon's head back.
Yeah, and that's going to open up the front door for straight jabs now, because now Colon has to watch out for, is it going to be a right hook or is it going to be a straight right hand?
No pattern so far for Wilito Ortiz.
Yeah, Ortiz is feeling it now. He's getting a nice rhythm.
Here comes Colon, trying to make an impression at the bell through 3 rounds.
Nice jab there by Ortiz. You can see. See, that's what I want to see by the taller fighters. Some jabs. You gotta get Colon to make mistakes. See, both these guys aren't really they're fencing right now. They're kind of going jab for jab. What do you got to show me? What am I going to counter? But in order for Colon to start, getting aggressive, you have to commit more to either those feints or the first punch, especially the jab.
Another jabs landing cleanly from Ortiz to open up round 4.
Like, notice what I meant by fencing, Justin. When one guy throws a jab, the other guy either leans back and comes back with the same punch. So it's kind of like neither of them wants to commit with their main hand, which is a left hand for the southpaw and right hand for the orthodox fighter. So they're just in front of each other, just posturing and fencing.
Colon trying to break that pattern there, and another jab blasts back the head of Colon.
You can see that the faster feet are with Ortiz. Colon's going to have a hard time breaking that distance if he doesn't have foot speeds. But he does have good timing. There, he landed two good shots. Not cleanly, but he definitely landed on something.
Both fighters trying to come through in their first fight scheduled for 8 rounds. Both putting their undefeated 6-0 records on the line. 2 Puerto Ricans, 2 6-0 records. And 2 fighters fighting 8 rounders for the first time.
Yeah,
good connect by Colon.
And both of them have similar power. You know, I could see right here that it's different type of power. Ortiz has that rangy power where he hurts you at the end of the punch, and Colon has the heavier power, I would say. Like when his punches land even on the shoulders of the gloves, you can see that they're heavier shots, slightly heavier.
The left lands again from Ortiz. And now he's starting to go to the body.
Good upper body movement there by Colon to break the distance, moving his upper body, not being a stationary target, and not giving Ortiz any confidence to land that jab, that long jab.
3-punch combo by Ortiz.
All those shots were blocked. You know, so as long as Colon doesn't just keep that earmuff defense and give an easy target to Ortiz, you know, those shots aren't going to affect him. But he just needs to come back with something right after. It was a good round for Ortiz, bouncing around, moving to his left, to his right.
Showing off the cleaner feet.
And showing the faster, quicker feet. Staying off the ropes as well.
We are through 4 between 2 Puerto Ricans going at it on the beautiful island.
El verano es infinito y las navidades son otra cosa. Desde que se prenden las primeras bombillitas en cada hogar, lo seguimos hasta los Reyes. Los intercambios se dan en cada esquina. Y los mejores regalos, los que van de la tierra a la mesa y los que hacen las manos de nuestros artesanos. Nos vamos de road trip por todo PR, conectando con nuestra música y nuestras tradiciones. Por eso yo turisteo y parrandeo donde vivo. Porque aquí el jolgorio es infinito. Con Muy Turisteando y la compañía de turismo de Puerto Rico.
There's the corner of Lionel Taz Colon. Trying to make some adjustments as this fight enters the 5th round, again scheduled for 8. And 19-year-old Lionel Colon. Yes, he got his nickname Taz from the Looney Tunes character.
You made sure of that?
Yes. Who's your favorite Looney Tunes character?
The Wile E. Coyote. Ooh. Always in trouble, always getting smacked against that railroad track.
Similar traits, right?
Yeah. Tell me about it. Oof, nice left hand there. See, that's the thing about Ortiz. You could always watch out for that left hand because it could be straight like he did there, but on the inside, he turns into a hook. You know, mean left hand puncher for Ortiz. And the more he develops and the more confidence he gets, the more experience he builds, it's even going to be a lot more dangerous.
Clash of heads between the 2 fighters.
Ooh,
conditioning as that punch comes through.
Ortiz just missed with a big straight left hand right now that Colon didn't even see coming. He came in and left his chin in the air, and Ortiz just barely missed.
He was meeting that punch head on.
See that foot feint right there, Justin? That slight little foot feint by Ortiz got Colon to bite and throw a punch. It didn't cost him that time, but I love seeing that from young fighters, the power of a foot feint.
How does a prospect improve upon their footwork?
Well, you got to do that in the gym. You got to do it in sparring, and you got to just, it's repetition. You know, everything's repetitive in boxing. If you do it in the gym over and over and over, you don't even realize you're doing it once those lights are under you.
It's that 10,000 hour rule that applies to everything, right?
Absolutely.
Coming over the top of the left hand, Ortiz.
You know, instinct. Everything's instinct in boxing. You know, the real true character of a fighter comes out when the going gets tough. Everyone knows that, right? So you face adversity. How are you going to meet it? But whenever you're following a game plan that you've been working on and you've been doing consistently over and over in the gym, then it just comes naturally once it's time to fight and box.
Counter left from Ortiz.
Nice straight left hand right there. Just a beautiful one, too. And you can see that he's responsible enough, Ortiz, to step back, just like he did there, to see if anything coming back from Colon. And then going back to that long jab. You know, whenever you get opponents to miss, they get frustrated, right? But then once you pop that jab in their face, that's a double frustration. It's like, I can't touch this guy, and then I'm getting popped anytime I back up.
And Ortiz doing just that, having some fun now. There's the salsa. What's the first step to regrouping here for that man on your screen?
Well, he hasn't figured out a way to close that distance, and he hasn't really been jabbing his way in. So I think he has to get a little bit more aggressive with that jab. You know, aim for the chest and bend those knees. Make yourself a smaller target. And there you get a headbutt, which you always see when the left-handed fighter fights a right-handed fighter. A nice clean right hand right there. See, but he landed something, but he didn't keep going because he didn't break the distance with that jab. Anytime Ortiz steps back, that's when you got to just really get aggressive with doubling and tripling the jabs. You know, making that ring smaller and smaller for the taller fighter.
Here we go with round number 6, again scheduled for 8 for these two 6-0 fighters. And Willito Ortiz with the white gloves, Taz Colon with the red gloves. Ortiz has showed off the footwork there. He takes a step closer and mashes Colon with that straight left yet again. Ortiz real focused on that head. He's had success, obviously. Not many attempts trying to go to the body.
There's another left hand that just missed by Ortiz. This was another left. It was a left hook. It looked like it was going to unleash as a straight punch, but that's a sneaky shot. How he turns into a hook afterwards, and Colon hasn't seen those shots coming. His head's in the same place, but he's just lucky he hasn't been caught at the end of the punch. Good body shot there by Ortiz. Now he's switching it up. William Ortiz is switching it up now. He sees that Colon is slowing down. You know, there's not that much speed or pop in his punch anymore, and that's the reason he's getting this confidence, William Ortiz. He's starting to dominate and break down Colon.
Colon try and sort of regroup over the last third of this fight and make it interesting. Right now, Ortiz in cruise control. Not just judging by the work, as Colon may have lost his balance after taking the brunt of that punch, but just his body language, feeling loose, salsa dancing, going back to his corner after the last round.
Well, he's having fun. Look at how fluid he is unleashing those shots now. And he's doing it with confidence, with ease. And that's what you want to see with these southpaw snipers, not think too much. You know, because they have the advantage. They're facing a guy that is not accustomed to facing southpaws as much as they're accustomed to facing right-handed fighters. And that's the reason he's landing those shots now at will. Those are hard shots. And he's taking the fight out of Colon. It's not that he's imposing his power or will, Ortiz. He's imposing just his footwork and the fact that he's not giving Colon anything to hit back. He's discouraging him, dispiriting him.
The spirit for Taz Colon withering one step at a time by that fighter. Willito Ortiz looking very sharp here over the first 6 rounds of this fight.
Beautiful 1, 2, 3, nice and simple. Nothing landed over, nothing overpowered. Just nice, clean shots, and then going down, gutting them to the stomach, and then that makes Colon duck down to block the stomach. That just lands a straight left hand. Just beautiful punch selection by Ortiz, going from top to bottom. Nothing crazy special, nothing hurting him, but discouraging Colon from coming in.
This is new territory for these two pros. First 8-round fights. Here we go with round number 7. The 6-0 Willito Ortiz against the 6-0 Taz Colon. And Ortiz running away with this one through the first 6 rounds. See a small cut just to the left of the eye of Colon.
Colon looked tired. He looked falling off balance now, even with a simple jab coming in. As soon as he misses, you can see that he squares up and his legs don't have as much a bounce to them. And there's still bounce in the legs of Ortiz.
Okay, stop.
Talked about the size of Ortiz. Again, standing at 6 foot, just 21 years of age. He only started boxing 7 years ago. Like, literally first time in the gym just 7 years ago. And you think about all he's accomplished in 7 years. Before that, he was a center in basketball.
Well, I mean, starting off your career, I started fighting around 15 years old. It's a nice ripe age, It's a little late, for the amateurs, but you also have a longer shelf life as a professional because you started a little bit later, depending on the style of fighting that you learned, and you could tell that Ortiz and Team Ortiz taught him how to box, not be too physical, so he should have a longer career.
Captured the bronze at the Pan Am Games in 2021. And that is the amateur achievement he said he's proud of most.
Beautiful straight 1-2 from that southpaw stance and backing up. He's going in there, getting the 1-2 and then stepping back, waiting for a counter. Nothing comes, then he goes right back in. You could tell that he was a successful amateur just by that 1-2, because that's a southpaw's advantage. I'm going to throw a straight, easy money punch. 1-2, step back, nothing comes, and I'm coming right back in. But if something does come, that's when you know what type of skill southpaw has. When he steps back and is able to counter an aggressive fighter.
Now administering some punishment. Final 15 seconds. Ortiz trying to put a licking on Colon.
I'll tell you what, man, he's really put a licking in and outclassing an undefeated fighter in Colon right now and taking the fight away from him.
Ortiz having a blast here in San Juan.
This is when a fighter's dangerous, when they're just having fun and everything, they're not even thinking, it's just snapping. snap punch. Anything that you're going to throw my way, I'm going to counter to it out of instinct, not even thinking. That's exactly what we're seeing in William Ortiz now. It's just not overthinking, not overloading, barely making a miss and making a pay.
This replay was from round 7, absolutely, but that could have been from any of the previous 6 rounds. We wouldn't know it.
Absolutely, because he's still boxing on the same tempo, he's at the same speed with the same pop. And that's because of the footwork, and that's what he has over Colon. He has footwork, more athleticism, more bounce on his toes.
8th and final round between these two. Again, they chirped it up leading into this fight. A pair of 6-0 fighters, 121, another 19 years of age going at it here in Puerto Rico. To highlight our before the bell card leading into the main card for Paro and Hitchins later tonight on DAZN. Ortiz just peppering ahead of Colon with rights and lefts.
Yeah, because Colon is not jabbing. There's nothing that Ortiz has to be leery of. Nothing's coming back from Colon, even though right there he countered with something. But if there's no jab to keep you thinking, then it's pretty easy to just pot shot your opponent.
And it clashed heads there. Colon trying to counter off the jab. Been a puzzle that he has not solved here against Willito Ortiz.
Yeah, it's a tough puzzle to figure out. It's because you're dealing with an extremely tall southpaw that knows how to fight like a left-hander, doesn't take too many chances, has enough power to keep you honest, and he's fleet-footed. So very difficult style to confront, but those are the issues that Colon is facing and he can't figure out.
Does Ortiz to you seem like he's content with letting this wind down, or is he?
Yes.
Is he going for the stoppage here?
No. I think his last hurrah for the stoppage was that 7th round. You know, he had some really good moments. I think he had his best round, and Colon wasn't going anywhere. So now in the last round, you really don't want to take too much chances. You have this fight in the bag, and like I said earlier, you know, you put it on cruise control. You got it already.
Final minute of action here up before the bell.
You know, the last thing you want to give a hopeless fighter is any hope. You know, you don't want to give him anything. You know, he's already a beaten fighter, a bloody fighter. He has no fight left, so just pot shot him all the way to the end.
Three-punch combo landed by Ortiz.
Yeah, but look at what came after that combo, Justin. It's a nice little pivot from the southpaw. I love that. I love seeing that from young fighters. You don't want to stand in front of your opponent too long, so you pepper him with 3 shots and then get that southpaw angle, start all over again.
Ortiz brought his dancing shoes tonight. A dominant display here by Ortiz in the main event on before the bell. 8 rounds in the books. Willito Magnifico here in San Juan. How's that for Spanish? All right.
You want to know the truth? Not that bueno, my friend. Yeah, man.
Ortiz looks like he could go another 6
rounds. I was about to say, he still looks fresh. He still has his dancing shoes on, man, and he's feeling himself. And you can see who's not feeling himself. That man right there, just a beaten fighter. You know, this is his first loss of his career. Doesn't know how to respond or react, but he didn't know how to really. He had no answers tonight for a fighter that was just too sharp in William Ortiz. And credit to the corner of Ortiz, because they did everything well. And you could tell that whatever they practiced in the gym came to fruition, because Ortiz really had a good time in there.
So Ortiz will likely improve to 7-0, while Colon, like Sergio said, will take his first defeat of his pro career.
I'm just noticing now, Justin, you're a southpaw. You're riding with your left hand.
That's right. I can't switch it up, though.
Oh, you can't?
Only against the bag.
You're ambidextrous.
Ortiz. Inking a deal with Matchroom right at the beginning of the summer. Competed on the first show that they had here in June in Manatee, and now shining in San Juan on the undercard of Paro Hitchins. For a young prospect like this, how badly do you think they want to perhaps get an international fight, get a showdown in the U.S.?
Not too far.
Okay.
I would say a couple more fights. I mean, build a fan base here. Once you start getting into the double digits and in victories with no hiccups, no bad fights, no tough losses, then you can go abroad.
Well, Willito Ortiz and Taz Colon, they conclude the action on the Before the Bell card. Main card is coming up in a little over 20 minutes from now on DAZN. And we are also closing in on making this one official. And we're good to go.
Damas y caballeros, después 8 asaltos de acción aquí en San Juan, vámonos a la decisión de los jueces. Todos los jueces harán lo mismo, 80-72, todos. Para su ganador, a decisión unánime y todavía invicto de Bayamón, Puerto Rico,
As expected, Willito Ortiz a winner by unanimous decision, and he improves to 7-0 with a dominant showing against Taz Colon to close out Before the Bell. So the native out of Bayamón giving the folks a show here at Roberto Clemente Coliseum. He improves to 7-0. And that concludes the action here on Before the Bell. We saw a bit of everything. Some decisive wins, some punishment dished out as we take a look at some of the action from our fourth and final bout here on Before the Bell.
This was a really good polished performance by Ortiz. You know, he really shut out an undefeated fighter in Cologne that was determined to get something started, but just couldn't get nothing going because that jab was too sharp, that left hand was too lethal, and he wasn't standing in front of his opponent long enough to give him any kind of confidence. Everything was footwork, either inside or out, or on the sides flanking his opponent. That's what you want to see from a young prospect, is development. You want to see him go through a little bit of adversity, but be able to pass the test, but not getting hurt, not getting dropped, not getting cut, and going on to the next one.
A near flawless performance for Willito Ortiz. The footwork flowing, as were the punches. And a unanimous decision victory for Willito here in San Juan. So that's a look at the Before the Bell card. Pinheiro victorious. Juan Zayas gets the win, both coming via unanimous decision. And Jose Roman with the upset over Jaleel Hackett via split decision. And in the main event, Willito Ortiz passes his first 8-round test, a decisive unanimous decision over Taz Colon. Before the Bell is concluding. Main card coming up at the top of the hour on DAZN. Castro in action at 135 against Quintana. It's the return of Yankel Rivera against Angel Gonzalez. A Puerto Rican clash between Henry LeBron and Christopher Diaz, and then the IBF super lightweight title at stake once again here in Puerto Rico. Liam Paro trying to make his first successful defense. Will he be able to do it against the undefeated mandatory challenger in Richardson Hitchins? That card coming up at 8 Atlantic, 7 Eastern, live on DAZN. For Sergio Mora and our entire Matchroom crew here on Before the Bell, this is Justin Shackle saying thanks for watching. Tune in to DAZN at the top of the hour and enjoy Paro Hitchins.
fighters are ready. The boxing world is ready.
Let's go. How do you like it? On the show. So aggressive, so focused. It all comes down to this.
Fight night, only on DAZN.